Okie dokie.
Should be live. Sound check.
Okie dokie.
Wow. It picked my microphone as the default for like the first time ever. What is going on, everybody? How are we doing? Cyrus is yelling at me. Alright. I need to yell at Cyrus. Boom. Consider him yelled at. How is everybody doing? Y'all chilling? I need to find the lobby that I was supposed to find. Spectate. 1, 2. No, wait. Yes, it is. The lobby's QWE. The password's 1, 2, 3. Got it. Now I need a blocker. Image file. That one. There we go. Beep. Boop. 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 Perfect. Blocker's done. Get up beneath the webcam. And we are good to go. Cyrus is always yelling at people. It is his way. Adomo's here. How you doing? How you doing? Quick overview of the tournament today. Go to left screen. We do have a Series 2v2 tournament. Domination format from Queden. Best of ones through quarterfinals and semifinals. And then the finals will be a best of 3. The prize is $50 first place, $25 whoops, for each player. No prize for second place. So win it all or nothing. We have Big Bays and Dante's Inferno, Rinless and Fozen, Race and Llama 13K, Evenstar and Ulrich Rahl, Anticity and Zone, Zamorik and Captain Melons, Wolfblade 1996, and I don't know who. And then You're a Costalam and Man 111. Personal favorites for the tournament is actually going to be Anticity and Zone. Usually I would bet on Evenstar, but Anticity is extremely good at domination mode, and Zone, as we saw, took Evenstar to a very close best of 3 last time we were on stream with them. So I just personally think even Anticity and Zone are favorites of the tournament. Dark horses would obviously be Evenstar and Ulrich Rahl, but I also think these top two, it sucks that they're facing each other right away, because I think either of these 2v2s would be a dark horse contender. So we'll see how that goes. That is the first game of Spectate. Thought that would be a good one to catch. All 4 of these players are quite good at domination mode. Yeah, that's what I got. So we're hopping in. Come on, RTK. Are the teams still random? No, this one is this serious quote unquote means you selected your factions and your partners ahead of time and stuff. I'm gonna catch up on messages real quick. I know of. Okay. All right. Okay. I'm done being trolled. The ODM team is ODM. Yeah. The ODM's been less of a guaranteed win these days. They have a lot of recruits, which means, newer players doing newer player stuff. But Anticity and Zone are both really good, even though Zone is newer. Come on, the other team is the hanging RTK DC, so I mustn't be rude. I forget, is Big B's RTK? I don't remember if he's just around a lot. I know Fozen's on, or Foz is Fozen. Fozen's around a lot. Dante's Inferno is obviously RTK, and Rinless is LS, but he's always in the RTK Discord, so it's a big old friendly civil war. Queden's here. It's going well. Going well. Just kind of starting off, getting everything up and running. We have Kislev and Korn versus Zinch and Korn. Interesting to see Kislev. A lot of people don't consider them that good in domination mode. But we'll see. Yeah, Big B's is RTK. Okay, so it's officially 2 RTKs versus 2 non-RTK but friendly compatriots. We are booting up, and I have tea that is ready, so I gotta go real quick. Dog, you are in the way. You are in the way. Yeah. I'm back. I have my tea. I am here. And I locked the cat in with me, so if he wants to get out, he'll just have to scratch at the door or something. Alright. So what do we have? What's going on? Casting the armies is kind of weird because most of it's in the reinforcements, but the basic concept we get across. Rinless brought Kairos Fate Weaver, while Fozen brought the Herald of Corn and double Cultist. Do we have double summon? Yep. Well, wait. Yeah, we have double summon. Alright, they're chilling. Bunch of Chaos Spawn, Forsaken. Chaos Warriors, very slow standard push, backed up by Blue Horrors. I imagine we'll be getting some supporting units summoned later, but for now you want to get the slow frontline moving. The other side, Big B's and Dante's Inferno, we have the Tsarina Katerin on her horse, making her a little squishier but also faster. She has Heart of Winter and Frostfang, that is it. And then we have a Cultist Corn, Herald of Corn, and a Cultist. And for this team we have some Chaos Warriors as well. Very similar Corn force, but to back them up, the Kislevites brought Zargard, Kossars, including some armored Kossars. Okay, so some bowmen, some frontline, and then obviously 2 heavy war slots. Kill. I hope they're not waiting on my account. They can go whenever. I'm just checking the various places they might be messaging me to make sure they know they don't have to wait for me. Okay. Doesn't look like they're typing to me. Hopefully they're fine. I hear it ticking down, so somebody hit ready at some point, and not everybody did. Lots of blue fire. From Kairos, yeah. Oh, yeah, versus the Horse Lord. Yeah, that Horse Lord's gonna die real fast. That Horse Lord's gonna die real fast. Okay, both forces are gonna move up. Though the Corn and Tzeentch don't really care that much. They don't have particularly great skirmish. Their blue horrors are whatever. They're more like miners with blasting charges, not archers, so they'll get their value out one way or the other. They don't really want the early fight, while the Kossars want to line up and fire and fire and fire. The puppy doesn't have the hunting instincts? No. No. By the way, Hubby, have you seen the new Deathmaster model for Game Workshop? Looks amazing. Probably the baddest rat yet made. I have not. I could check it out if we have some downtime. But I had not. Is he in Age of Sigmar now? I'm very behind on Age of Sigmar stuff. Kairos is running around just looking for some freebies somewhere. I agree with Daniel that he should probably throw out any spells he has at the Tsarina. On her horse, she is very susceptible to such things. Herald of Corn is also on a mount, making him a little less tanky to spells, but he still does have spell resist. Watch that video after the stream? Sure. Probably. Maybe. No. What do we have up here to stop those sleds? We do have some Screamers of Tzeentch, which recently have used to decent effect, and Flesh Hounds, and Chaos Spawn. Okay, so those heavy war sleds are going to want to play safe. They can't come up here without serious punishment. Aside from that, it looks like Rinless and Fozen have taken both of the high grounds. It looks like Big B's and Dante's Inferno have heavily dominated the center point, but what are they going to do from there is a key question. Now, ooh, yes, I get my arrows. I mean, part of you would say they can come up and get a flank around here or support this side, but the problem is the spawns through here are going to come cut you off. So that's dangerous. It's dangerous to go from the midpoint up to the sides. It looks like they do realize that they're losing their own point over here, so they're now going to spawn Cossars, Spears, and Chaos Warriors to run up and defend that area. Control points have not unlocked yet. Surprised how reserved Kairos has been with his blue fires. You think he'd be spamming more of them at the Tsarina? Now, she has been playing a little bit back, to be fair, but still, Kairos hasn't been moving into a position where he can abuse it either. He is going to take a fight with the Chaos Furies of Khorne. He's going to rely on his shields and single entity status to protect him while his own Chaos Furies come up to support. And it looks like Dante's Inferno will realize that was a bit of a bait and try to run away without taking too much damage. Control points are unlocking, and the red team is definitely going to secure points 1 and 3, and I think they're just going to sack point 2. Now with a little bit of Fury cover, Kairos is running up, but there are a shit ton of archers there, so you don't want to back off. You don't want to back off. This is a decent start to the red team. I mean, double capture point, good high ground positions. It's good. Little aggressive here with the Chaos Furies of Khorne going in to fight double Chaos Furies of Tzeentch and Kairos. It seems like a bit of a throwaway. Curious what the objective was there. On the other side, blue horrors are going to do a lot of damage to the dual weapons. They don't have shields, so you can see they're kind of getting mulched down. Even though they have 100 armor, it's just volume of fire. There's like 3 or 4 different little guys shooting in here. Though the Chaos Spawn are going to get in their way, make it a little harder for them to shoot. You can see they're starting to get obstructed. And Flesh Hounds of Khorne flanking the blue horrors. Traditionally, you'd think they would do very well, but my experience, they eventually win. They just win more slowly than you would imagine dogs beating up an infantry unit would do. Chaos Warriors of Khorne dual weapons are pushed off, and it looks like both Cultists of Khorne are trying to use their summon, though this one did get knocked over by Cossified Dervishes. Cossars Spears will get eaten alive by Bloodlettas and Chaos Spawn. You see these blue horrors are holding out against the Flesh Hounds, and meanwhile the other blue horrors just shoot in and make that a run fight. You'd think Flesh Hounds would do very well, but I have many a time thrown my Flesh Hounds against blue horrors and looked back and they were dead. Many times. Kairos is even supporting this fight over near the tier 3 area, and red team's feeling confident. Red team's feeling real good right now. Blue has to figure out what to do. They do have a lot of troops standing around in the middle, nice and secure, ready to fire, but it's just red is barely even taking that fight. In fact, I'm a little confused why they even brought this paltry force up within range of getting killed, but each their own. Maybe they wanted to distract them, make sure the archer support didn't come up on the high ground. Couldn't say. Red team is up at the moment. Looks like, roughly 2-1. Roughly 2-1 in damage. We have a lot of Screamers and Chaos Knights of Tzeentch chilling up in this high ground. I'm a little curious if they could maybe come down and harass some of the archers, though these are Kislevites archers, so they're decent melee combatants as well. But might be too many units up at point 1. Defending nothing, possibly. Though I suppose also running them into die doesn't help you any either. Vanguard Fleshhound deployment. These guys have been pushed back so far that they're in their spawn zone. Interesting. Kairos is back at it. Now with the fight all chaotic and crazy, I wouldn't mind for Kairos to sneak over and get a shot onto the Tsarina. Like, I know I keep saying that, but you would be flabbergasted how much damage an overcasted blue fire onto a Horse Lord can do. Flabbergasted, I tell you. Blue Herald of Khorne was unsummoned. Looks like they just wanted to not get the leadership debuff penalty and they knew he was going to die. Army ability of Tzeentch is landing on some Chaos Warriors and Cossars, but I've made many videos about this from one side or the other. In-game, in practice, I still find the Tzeentch tier 3 armor ability to be pretty underwhelming, but could be just me. I kind of want to stay in this area so I can see if the Tsarina gets nuked. I don't want to miss it. So point 1, still nothing's going on. Point 2, constant streaming in of red forces. They're doing well. And point 3, blue is fighting valiantly to try and take it back, but it looks like they're having real troubles. Damage balance of power has evened up quite a lot. Do we get it? Do we get it? Do we get it? Do we get it? Ah, some of the projectiles went above her. Lame. Lame, I wanted to see the fat one shot. Ah, nice little bolt of change. Does good damage. Good job there. Looks like the Kislev War Chariots have been well handled. They're still at half health apiece, and they're running through a whole bunch of things. Chaos Warriors are pouring in over and over again to really keep pressure onto point 2. They don't want to win point 2, they just want to keep you there. They're fine with how everything else is going. They just want to make sure that this point 2 squad can't move. Can't move. Is my tea cool enough to drink yet? Time to find out. No. Nope, 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 nope. That answer is no. Very well. This still doesn't seem to be going anywhere. These blue horrors have seen Chariot of ammo, but I don't think they're going to add to the blob fight. I believe they'll just sit back and be capture weight if you need it later. We have crossed the halfway point for the red team. They are doing just fine. They could go down... Well, not yet. I was going to say they could go down to 1 capture point and be fine, but not quite. Blue is now making a push for point 1, realizing that everything else is stonewalled, and wow, they're really coming out hard. Triple Winged Lancers and double... No, wait, 1 Flesh Hound and then some Chaos Warriors also coming up. Really pushing hard up here. In response, we're going to see Furies, Screamers, Chaos Knights, Forsaken, Spawn, Flesh Hounds, just everything that can get up there from the red team will get up there and try to hold that spot. 3 is doomed. This was a very aggressive move by the red players, but they took this spot right next to the enemy spawn, and then the enemy kept spawning in stuff, and they just kept killing it. It's kind of bold to assume you'll just kick your opponent that hard, but they tried. It's going to be a nice little rear charge from Rinless. Screamers getting onto the Winged Lancers right next to the edge of the map. They will pop their Buy Our Blood passive, so they're not going to rout off as quickly as any other faction would, but still, it is in fact good play. Kairos Fate Weaver is standing around, being ominous, being spooky. I wonder with all the blobs that end up happening if it would have been good for him to somehow take Gateway of Tzeentch or something like that. I don't actually know if he has that, because he has Pendulum, which sucks now. Okay. Maybe never mind that. I don't know Kairos' spells by heart, but I know he has Earth. He has Regrowth, Pendulum, Blue Fire, don't know the other ones. More Winged Lancers have gotten up here from Big B's. Looks like they stalled out a little bit in the woods, and now they will get caught by Chaos Furies. Wow, taking a lot of damage over there. Holy crap. These Chaos Furies are doing work. We are at the point where it looks like the red team could go down to 1 capture point and still be fine. It looks like 2 very wounded Chaos Cultists are... I mean, I promise they're in there. I promise that there is a Chaos Cultist underneath that health bar. The snow is so bright. I can't see anything. Holy crap. Oh, that's very good. Alright, anyway. Somewhere in the white nonsense, there is a fight. These blue horrors still have ammo, they're shooting in. It looks like red is even winning this engagement. And the damage values did get very, very similar in the mid-game. But, like, it's just felt like red has run this show. They're even pushing in on the center point. Again, not capturing it, but they just keep making ground constantly. So it feels like they're winning everywhere. Who's messaging me in? Is it important? How do we achieve this gold amount? Alright. Queden, you have a question coming your way from World Beater. Would make a good bug video. Yeah, it could. It's so bright. It's just so bright. Not too much else to say. It was just a double capture through the entire game. And now I do think it is too late for blue. They have nothing up near point 1. All they need to hold is 1 point to win, but even then they're holding point 3 pretty convincingly. Oof. My graphics settings are painful. What about them? He still has ways to improve his streaming setup. As much as I love the constant flame, Solutions are much more valuable than criticism. Just throw them out there. Kairos throws a blue fire, kills Larina from 1/3 health. What up, Austin Boner? I like your first name. It's a good first name. Strong first name for real Giga Chads.
You have been bested. There is only defeat.
Okay. Platypus, what's wrong with the graphic settings? What is wrong? Yee. Austin Bonard, I don't think I've seen you on the channel. Though I do know who you are because of reasons. You didn't get any message from Worldbeater? I told him to ask you. He was saying that the funds on Challenge are weird. And he said, how do we achieve this gold amount? And I said, I don't know. Maybe the funds, maybe the copy paste hadn't been updated since the update, where now it's 50-50 on the funds rather than your starting army smaller. Don't know. Don't know. Big B's and Dante did fall this day. They gave it a good show. They didn't have a lot to punish the Lord sniping from Kairos, which, I mean, Zinch does Zinch things, not super shocking. Even then, though, actually, he didn't get that much value. I wonder what he was doing. Might have been regrowthing a bunch of stuff, which would explain why the blue fire spam wasn't really there. If his mana was elsewise occupied. Why does that Fury have a red health bar? Why does that Fury have a red health bar? What's going on there? What's up with this one Fury? That's pretty funny. Alright. They left. You've done a couple nerdy things together in the past. I need to play more Total Warhammer on that note. It's true. That's true. I generally try to avoid giving information about people. And then they can give it if they want to. Or they can't if they don't want to. Alright. We don't have a semifinal to go to just yet. And all the other games are in progress. So real quick, I'm going to go check that replay. Because I want to see if that's consistent. I want to see if at the end that Fury still has a red health bar. Because that could also be kind of a funny video. Could be a twofer. Bonard, I heard you might be playing Space Hulk Deathwing with us next week on stream. Is that true? Or is that a falsism? I feel like... Oh, the sun shines... Like, the sun actually moves with the clouds, which is kind of neat. It's kind of neat, but man, when the sun hit this specific spot, you just couldn't see anything. The Fury was Cornish, but betrayed him for Zinch. Maybe. Maybe. Okay, you need to boogie. Hope it goes well. See you, dude. That is very true. Got your own streams as well. Hooray! I did not know that until our mutual friend had told me. The hell is a twofer? 2 for 1. It is a 2 for 1 situation. And the desummoning of the Herald. Yeah, I don't know, man. That tier 3 army ability always underwhelms me. Always. I've said it many times, mostly off stream when I'm making videos, but I wish there was like a ×8 fast forward. Because basic fast forward feels like it doesn't get very fast. Just want to get to the end. Oh, here comes this. Is it really as bright as I thought? Best of ones? Quarterfinals and semifinals are best of ones. Finals are best of 3. I did not abandon a best of 3 in progress just to look at a replay. The enemy stacks their entire army through the tier 3 radius. It might pay for itself. Maybe. Okay. In game, this was horrifically bright. You just can't see what's going on. Oh, that's good. All right, we're almost to the end. Almost to the end.
No! The enemy has slain our lord.
There it is.
You have been bested.
Is that one Fury still different? Yeah. There's just one Fury that didn't have shields, but it still labels itself as a Chaos Fury of Tzeentch. That's kind of a funny little bug. And then, hold on. Do all the Furies look different? They're kind of purple. They're blue. I'm guessing these guys are greenish. Yeah, they're greenish. Okay, so it's like if it was a Corn Fury, it would at least look different. So I don't know. I've never seen that one before. That's a new bug to me. There's not a lot of new bugs to me. I get a lot of them sent to me. Alright, let me change that. Snowfight Cultist, then Fury, and end screen. Okay. I'll make a video about that later. And did our stalling tactic work? Do we have another semifinal ready? Not quite. Not quite. On the other side, Anticity and Zone did advance. My personal favorite for the tournament. Still think they'll probably end up winning it all. And in the semifinals, they're going to fight someone I've never heard of. I haven't heard of any of these players down here. Which is probably pretty good for them. Pretty good. I wonder. I see Wolf Blah in lobby. I'm going to join their game in case they somehow haven't played yet. But I'm pretty sure they've played. Whoa. Why was it set up as Wolfblade if it's these guys? Well, the same logic applies. All right. Sorry, just trying to figure some things out. But either these guys haven't played or they're done. They're leaving, so they're done. Our first semifinal will be Rinless and Fozen versus whoever just won that. So I'll join QWE. Again. And I'll message Rinless and say, you guys are up. Oh, I see. Yep. Evenstar and Ulrich did advance. Not shocking, but still. Sucks that my tournament favorite is on one side of the bracket, Anticity and Zone, and then the 3 dark horses I had are all on the other side of the bracket. So, in the end, we're just gonna get one dark horse versus the tournament favorite. Summon from the portal also look different than normal Furies. That's true, so I don't think it was the summon. Also, summons don't usually appear on the game end screen, so that wouldn't make any sense. Yeah, TN, that is weird. I wish the replays would tell you who was who. Another change from game 2 to game 3 that didn't really make any sense. I'm busy now. Summer was extremely delayed in Minnesota, but it came, and it came with a vengeance. So now I gotta work on... My spring crops all didn't make it because it was 40 degrees and then it turned to 80 degrees in the course of a week. So they didn't have much chance to grow. And now they're stunted, but I gotta uproot them. I gotta pull them out, make ready for the summer crops. Because if I let them grow, they'll just get to about adolescence and then die to the heat. And then I wasted my time that I could have had summer crops. So I'll go out and pull all of them out of the dirt. Get something to plant. Probably some tomatoes. Maybe some peppers. I tried tomatoes and peppers last year and we didn't get anything for various reasons. Last year was a whole thing, which I guess I have nothing better to talk about. So here we go. Gardening. The only thing I will say is it's Tzeentch corn versus Ogre Kingdom's corn. So corn's very popular today, which is weird. I heard Nurgle was the OP one for not land battles, domination mode, but it's a corn day. Anyway, back to that thing. Yeah. Last year, dude, I got some... How hot is it now? It is 90 degrees. So we got dirt last year from like a nursery. So you would think a nursery, and not a nursery for like babies, like a nursery for trees. So you think they would know their shit, but they were selling some dirt that was essentially mud. Like it was just god-awful dirt. It was just mud. Like once you dried it out, it was very clay, and not a lot of plants like to grow in that, so it was just shit. But I bought it, and I'm the type of person that if I buy something, I try to use it anyway. So I mixed it in with my soil. 6 out of 8 teams picked corn. Corn has the Sophie Doggos. Yeah. That's a lot of corn. Anyway, sorry. So I mixed it with my good dirt to make like passable dirt. And I thought it would be fine. But some of the mixtures weren't quite right, so still when it rained enough, it just turned into mud and drowned out the seeds. So some of my pots last year I lost to that crap. And then we also have, our landlords really like to get the lawn sprayed with these like chemicals to keep weeds out, which, whatever. Okay, I guess. I just usually let them, I let them grow, but they can do what they want. It's technically their house, I guess. So anyway, I told them, I'm like, hey, I have some seedlings. They really don't want to get fucking poisoned. Please let me know ahead of time when these guys are coming, and I'll move them to the other side of the house or something. And they're like, okay. Well, they didn't tell me, and they also said, like, oh, these guys are trained very well to spray close to the ground and it won't get on your plants in the pots. And I'm like, okay, because the pots are pretty high off the ground. Well, one day I hear a weird noise, so I just look out my window here, and I see a teenager with headphones on, blasting him, like, just kind of nodding his head, going around and just spraying from the hip sideways at the whole lawn with, like, this stuff. And, like, I can smell it in the house. And I'm just like, yeah, highly trained. Great. Great, dude. Awesome. So then all those plants died. Can't imagine why. Not great soil and getting bombarded with poison. Weird. So hopefully this summer will go better. Hopefully. So I got another couple bags of good dirt and mixed that in. So the bad dirt's still in the mix, but now instead of being like 50-50, it's like 25% of any of the pots. So it's more filler than anything. There's plenty of nutrients in there. And that's my gardening story. So this year I'll probably do peppers and tomatoes. Did I just unplug my camera? Let's find out. Nope. Seems fine. It's 89 in New England. Yeah, it's about that here too. I took Hazel on a lovely walk this morning. We went down by the river, walked around. The water, normally Minnesota water is kind of muddy. Like, we have a lot of loose silt and clay that gets in the water, then it's kind of murky. But today I could actually see the bottom of the river, which was really nice. So I just went out there, sat for a while, let her run around. Got some sun on my little pale body. When I was a teenager, I didn't mind, but now when I'm really pale, I get kind of self-conscious. I'm like, I should get out more, you know? I should get some color so people can't see my veins anymore. You thought Tien was either Russian or Brazilian? Savage Kiara, hey, how you doing? How you doing? One of the players messaged me about what map we were on, and I was busy talking to all of you because I am trash. Cyrus, 69 degrees where you are? 1, nice. 2, that does sound nice. Like that, jokes aside, that sounds nice. My ideal temperature, as with most people, like I feel like a lot of people like that temperature setting, but like 50 to 70, perfect. Minnesota kind of missed it this year. We went from 40 degrees and like literal snow, and then when we, like, it was about 2 weeks ago, it was just 90. That's what you get now. And there's been a couple days that are down in the 60s and 70s, and that's nice. Like today, I think it's only, it's 80, which is still a little hot, but we have our windows open, getting some fresh air in the house. It's not as musty. You don't realize how bad your house smells until it's not winter anymore. And you go outside and you smell like flowers and like fresh cut grass and stuff. Like, God, that smells great. Then you walk back into your house, it just kind of smells like musty and stale because it's been, windows have been closed for 6 months. It's been negative degrees out forever. So it's like, yeah, let's get some fresh air in here. It's nice. We're in a good mood. We got some domination mode going on today. Life's good. 50, 70 is best. 80 is pushing it past that. It gets sweaty and unfun. Oh, yeah. The humidity is the worst. So, for Rinless and Fozen. Very similar build, except now we have an Exalted Lord of Change. And it looks like he is going to take that Infernal Gateway that I mentioned earlier. It looks like he wanted to punish the blobs and didn't have the capacity to last time. Other than that, we have Spawn, 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 Spawn. Blue Horrors, Forsaken, a bunch of Chaos Warriors, and a Herald and 2 Cultists. Okay. On the other side, for the Ogres, I'm guessing Evenstar is going to take double Hunter on Stonehorn? No, just 1. Okay. Alright, cool. Thought he would have both. He does have an Iron Blaster. Evenstar always takes an Iron Blaster, land battles, or not. Slaughtermaster of the Great Maw. We have Scarbrand for Ulrich Rahl. Cultist of Corn, just 1? Interesting. No double Cultist, no double Stonehorn. Some restraint today. Other than that, we do have Chaos Warriors with dual weapons and halberds mixed in, Lead Belchers for the Ogres, Noblars, Noblar Trappers streaming in, and some Ogre Bulls being summoned in later. Borger units. I got a VPN, so 69 degrees in Salt Lake. Classic VPN problems. Iron Blaster, it's hard to tell what he's shooting at. It almost friendly fire, not friendly fire, collateral damage to the Lord of Change, but it looks like he's actually shooting at these Chaos Warriors. Okay. I mean, with the Iron Blaster and double Lead Belcher, the Ogres are definitely happy to just sit back here and poke. There's no range to really oppose them whatsoever. Yeah, even the Hunter's gonna walk up and just start throwing some Javelins around. They're happy. They're content. Not a lot of great blue fire targets. Scarbrand, the Hunter, both terrible targets for blue fire. Looks like he's gonna throw one out anyway. Let's see. Oof. Oof. Ooh, oof. Alright. That happened. Anyway. Slaughtermaster probably the only actual good target, but he's in the trees, so they can't find him, obviously. A lot of Leadbelcher poke up there in the sky, but the Exalted Lord of Change still has a little bit of shields left, so he hasn't taken any real damage. And the Hunter Stonehorn is getting oddly aggressive. He's right next to Armor Sundering Spawn and Armor Piercing Anti-Large Screamers, which are going to dive down onto him from Rinless. Now, maybe this could be a ploy from Evenstar to just shoot the crap out of them like you see coming down, but it feels like a really risky move to potentially lose such a valuable unit this early on. Now, Hunters, the reason they are so valuable is because they're nearly impossible to snipe out, so that could be part of it, but we get an overcasted blue fire from Rinless onto him, and it's really just going to do negative damage, and he walks away scot-free, because I guess that's fine. There's a reason that this unit is currently one of the most hated in the entire game. It's because it can just walk out of any situation for some godforsaken reason. I mean, you think surrounding it with Spawn and Screamers would do something, but nope, just walks away. Anyway, the frontline fight is getting into gear now. Tzeentch's forces are getting into range a little bit. We do have Chaos Furies coming in from the sidelines to fight Leadbelchers, but it looks like they take a butt-ton of damage from the Ogre Bulls that are backing them up. And a Bloodletter summoned from the front line is going to run back there instead and try and help out a little bit. Maybe the Chaos Furies will wrap around on the back side and get some flank attacks in. Tzeentch Cord getting into melee on this side. Another blue fire onto the Hunter is really not doing any damage. I do not like the Winds of Magic usage so far from Rinless personally, but he is a better player than me in Warhammer 3, so I guess I'll just have to trust his opinion on such things, but I'm not understanding the concept there. Screamers are flying over Nobbler Trappers. That will take a bunch of damage. And it looks like they're going hunting for maybe these Leadbelchers want to help the Furies do the fighting there. It's not going great. Bloodletters of Khorne, that is a summon, but it's still fading, so they'll get out of the way soon. And Slaughtermaster of Great Maw is out in the open. That is a much better blue fire target for you. I say that from experience. I've done a lot of Ogre sniping on land battles than the Hunter. Screamers and Furies do take out the Leadbelchers. They're going to die, but their combined value is about that of our Leadbelchers, so in the end, I guess you could say it was worth. And how we're doing on the capture points. Fozen and Rinless have 0.3 uncontested. The other 2 points are contested, and it's very hard to tell which Khorne is actually capturing that. It looks like Faz, but I'll believe it when I actually see it. Okay. Cool. It might be a triple cap for Tzeentch and Khorne. Now, this isn't surprising from what Platypus has told me about this type of game mode, where, like... Well, I guess it actually kind of is. He usually says Tzeentch likes to sit off the points and just shoot, and then in the late game take all 3 points from a nearly dead opponent. But Tzeentch is on one side, Ogre's on the other side. I was going to say Ogres love to just sit and shoot, but they also like to bum rush. So I don't understand. I don't understand anything. I'm made out of stupid. Scarbrand is in the middle of a bunch of blue health bars. I don't know how much danger he is actually in, but it does look like he's taking decent damage, so maybe he is actually in trouble. Who knows? Who knows? Point 2 has been taken by the Ogre Kingdoms. Point 1 was taken by Khorne, the blue Khorne. They are going to hold it. Point 3 is now under contesting. It looks like Red has sufficient forces up here to take it. We do have some Bloodletters. Ogre Bulls with dual weapons, and Ogre Bulls, and there's just one Forsaken and a Fleshhound to hold point 3, so they will need some reinforcements up there if the blue team intends to hold point 3. Tzeentch, Lord of Exalted Lording, comes over here, does something. The Treason of Tzeentch. 16 leadership? Why? I'm very confused. Like, I'm sure Rinless has some method to his madness, but that's what it appears like from this side, madness. I don't understand what the Treason of Tzeentch was for. These Khorne units are such high leadership, they're going to be fine. The only Khorne unit that actually was low on leadership doesn't rout anyway, so maybe he's just starting some crumbling, but that doesn't feel worth it. And then landing on Scarbrand like this, ugh. Personally, I think those were some pretty big mistakes. Looks like Red Team is going for a triple cap now. They have deleted the Forsaken. The Fleshhounds are trying to hold off some Ogre Bulls and trading up damage-wise, but there's more Ogre Bulls and more Bloodletters that can support them. So the Red Team is going into triple cap territory. Do have some Screamers of Tzeentch on the back line just sitting there. But this might be the beginning of the end, as the Red Team is quite far ahead on damage value over the blue team at this moment. I don't see a lot of ways they could turn this around. These Furies are probably going to try and double route off these Ogres off the map, but again, they have no capture weights, so they're going to change this situation up there. Screamers get shot to death. They're going to crumble away. And the blue forces are looking mighty thin. If you look at the map now. It's 18 units versus 33. So they have 15 more units on the field for the red team. The red team with more units on the field has more damage. Almost, oh god, 20,000 to 15,000-ish. So almost 5,000 more damage value. And it's looking like it is just going to snowball out of control away from Tzeentch and them. Overcast Treason of Tzeentch does do minus 24 melee attack, but I don't think the Winds of Magic is worth it. But there wasn't the minus 24 melee attack there. It just did the leadership. When I was hovering over the units, it just said minus 16 leadership. So it wasn't overcasted. I don't understand. Alright, Scarbrand is going to rampage, use up Lord of Change, and he's going to get a rear attack on him. We'll hit him. And since that Lord can't fly away, he has decent melee stats, but nothing compared to Scarbrand himself. So Scarbrand's going to do some yeetus deletus on that Lord of Change, and I think that might be GG. Again, it's early to call it, because the scores are about to say, but like I was saying, there's a triple cap, and the people triple capping currently have more troops on the board. And I just don't see that changing, ever. Exalted Lord of Change does have the Horn of Corn. His melee attack's technically higher than Scarbrand's melee defense, so they could be trading blow for blow, but Scarbrand's just such a better melee combatant, I would expect him to win. He gets turned around. No, they both decide to leave. Neither of them really wanted that fight anymore. Lead Belcher's piling in, just getting some more poke damage on that Lord of Change before he gets his shields back up. Iron Blaster fires at him before he takes off, so it's going to miss. Unfortunately there. We do have the big Infernal Gateway. Woo! I hope it was overcasted for their sake. It doesn't look like it was. It looks like it was just undercasted, but you'll take out the Noblars and maybe some of the dogs, but not going to do much damage to the Chaos Warriors at this juncture. Aldercrawl is past Fozen in damage value, and then Even Star's almost double Rinless's. I think Even Star and Aldercrawl are going to glide to a comfy victory. Ooh, even more reinforcements coming in. Lead Belcher is safe and sound in the back line. Ooh, as soon as I say that, some Screamers are coming straight for their face. That'll be a good trade for Tzeentch, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. And they will get intercepted by Chaos Furies of Khorne. Chaos Furies of Khorne aren't anything to mess with. The brutal little buggers. One of your units has split. These all Lord of Change is trying to help out, but there's a bunch of Noblar Trappers here that if they throw, they would actually do a lot of damage to them. Now, thankfully, they're a ranged unit in Warhammer 3, so they have a very hard time throwing. Until you take off and get out of their range, then they throw. Look at all those red units. Look at all these red units. It's 11 versus 31.
There is only defeat.
That's crazy. Even Star and Ulrich will advance to the finals. GG well played to Rinless and Fozen. And now I have to wait for Warhammer 3 to boot up. Alright, Anticity or 2v2 tourney. I don't know which one I'm supposed to join, so I'll join Anticity. Make sure he's here. There it is. My mere presence peer pressured him into a spectator slot. Alright. Boom, boom. We are in the lobby. I'll get a blocker up. And as a quick refresher, we just watched Rinless and Fozen versus Even Star and Aldercrawl. Even Star and Aldercrawl will advance to the finals, and then we are now on the bottom semifinal of Anticity and Zone versus Wolfblade, and I believe World Beater. I believe, because World Beater was asking questions about the tournament, and I don't see him anywhere else on here, so I think it is Wolfblade and World. Blah, blah, blah. Blah, 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 blah. Throw in a little smiley face so he knows I'm not mad. But I am mad. I'm furious. Rawr. If only we had an in-game chat to ask for spectator slots. No. Don't be ridiculous, Coops. Don't be ridiculous, Coops. Well, go outside. Come on. Good boy. Yeah, it is World Beater. I wonder what is Wolfblade. FBLAD. F-Blood. I don't know why his name is start out like that. Maybe he did it himself. Maybe Warhammer 3 filtering did that. I don't know. I just work here. Looks like we have Khorne and Ogre Kingdoms versus Nurgle and Khorne. A lot of Khorne today. Queden himself did say it was a lot of Khorne. So let's see. We had Tzeentch and Khorne, Ogre Kingdoms and Tzeentch, Tzeentch and Khorne, Ogre Kingdoms and Khorne, Ogre Kingdoms and Khorne, Slaanesh and Tzeentch, Nurgle and Khorne, Kislev and Khorne. I'm noticing both of the 2v2s that didn't have Khorne in them got knocked out in the first round. Khorne OP. How dare you expect someone as basic as yeah. Not having it in Warhammer 3. Hold on. Are you talking to me? No. Okay. Okay, I was worried I was missing something. Are you being robbed? No. Murdered? No. Okay. Grace talked to the dog, but I was really worried she was saying my name over and over again, and I was ignoring her, but it was the dog. Anyway, the in-game chat. It wouldn't bother me as much as if Game 3 didn't have a chat, as the fact that they also took it out of Game 2, but then no other titles. You know what I mean? They didn't take it out of Shogun 2. They didn't take it out of Attila. They just took it out of Warhammer 2. And I know all the reasons. The reasons are like, oh, but it's on the Epic Games Store now, and they want to run it through the Epic Games app, and you don't want to run it through Steam, you want to run it through Epic Games, and like that stuff. But the same is kind of when I talk about the bugs in the game, or the charge bonus is the biggest one, where like a Stonehorn can run down a Snow Leopard even though they have almost 2-to-1 speed difference. But then people are like, oh, Human Boy, it's the charge bonus. The charge bonus is how a 68 speed unit catches a 100. And I'm like, yeah, telling me why it's happening is not the point. Like, the point is, I think it's stupid that it happens, right? You can tell me the mechanics for why the stupid thing happens. That doesn't make me like the stupid thing. It's like, oh, okay, cool, we found the vessel. Still needs to be changed. Like, if someone jumps off of a roof and then breaks their leg. And I'm like, oh, God, why'd you break your leg? And they're like, well, I jumped off the roof. It's not like I'm like, all right, yeah, that was a great thing. It's like, no, my point is why did you jump off the roof and break your leg? So the same thing with the Game 2 chat. It's like, oh, it's for the Epic Games Store. Well, great, but that's not the point. It's not like, oh, it's on the Epic Games Store. Well, then I'm fine not having a basic function that should be in this game. A basic function that was in this game. No, I'm fine now that got taken away. And we don't get to use it because of the Epic Games Store. Now, what? Oh, it's just fine now. It's like, no, it's not fine. We need an in-game chat. I don't care if it's in the Epic Games Store. Make the Epic Games Store make you a fucking chat. It also broke a couple people's game too? Really? That's annoying. That's stupid. Yeah, it's just not good. I don't think Human Boy understands the charge bonus. Ugh. KV, I know you're memeing on me because you're a classic OG memer. But, like, you have no idea how many times I've talked about charge bonus over the last year that I've... Actually, yeah, we're coming up on a year of making YouTube videos. And over the last year, whenever I complain about something, people are like, either you complained about that once before and you're never allowed to talk about it again. And I'm like, I'll talk about it as long as it's not fixed. Or the other thing is, like, I mean, we already talked about it, but just like, well, charge bonus is charge bonus, so of course a man in a wheelchair can catch a person driving at 100 miles an hour because charge bonus. It's like, no, I think the problem is that the man in the wheelchair is catching the car. I think that's the problem. Or also the classic blank YouTuber already did a video on this. Alright, I didn't know they trademarked it. I also didn't watch their content. I've also never heard of that person. It's cool that they did it, but you don't need to come after me like I'm stealing their content. It's like, I never heard of that person. Or like Zerkovich. I don't watch any of Zerkovich's stuff. If he did stuff, great. So this is our first today for seeing any of these 4 teams. World Beater and Wolfblade. Don't know why that's blurred out versus Centicity and Zone. For Centicity and Zone, we do have a Herald of Nurgle on a Rotfly. He has Locus of Fecundity, which is not a spell, it's an aura. Think like the Patriarch's ability. We have Stream of Corruption, which is a very, very good wind spell, and then Fleshy Abundance. I guess it's a breath spell, to give a point. Then we have Quadruple Cultist. All of them have summons. We have a Herald of Corn for the AoE buffs, like a boss, and then Exalted Bloodletters. Exalted Bloodletters spawn Plague Bearers and Exalted Plague Bearers, a Beast of Nurgle, and nothing on the high ground. So an extremely elite infantry corps with a lot of summons from Anticity and Zone. On the other side, single entities, baby. World Beater and Wolfblade. We have Scarbrand. We have double Stonehorns without the Hunters on them. I think that might be a mistake just because the Hunters add so much to the Stonehorns for so little cost. If you put a Hunter on a Stonehorn versus just a Stonehorn, I think it's like, don't quote me on this, but it's like 100 gold more. At most, like 500 gold more, but still. I just know when I looked at it, I was like, oof, you should never take a Stonehorn without a Hunter. So that'd be my immediate thought. Slaughtermaster of the Great Maw with some healing? No? Yes. Okay, there's the healing. There's also just the Toothcracker too, which I think the healing is a little more important. Do have some Ogre Bulls. We have some Bloodletters. Ogre Bulls, Noblars, Bloodletters, Exalted Bloodletters. Exalted Bloodletters. So a lot of Exalted Bloodletters in this matchup, interestingly enough. Ogres are the only ones trying to take the high ground. They did deploy some Trappers in the Vanguard, and they're stocked, so it looks like Anticity and Zone won't know that point 3 is going to be contested until it is suddenly not there. Queden, Human Boy, doesn't understand anything, so no surprise there. Why do you hurt me so? What have I done to wrong you, sir? Memes aside, Exalted Plague Bearers, you have to be very, very careful. We saw a Zone versus Evenstar in the finals of a 1v1 Domination tournament recently, where the Exalted Plague Bearers were not respected, and they nearly one-shot a Exalted Greater on a clean one. And that tipped the game into Evenstar's favor later on, and Zone just couldn't recover from that. So you really have to respect these little grenade chuckers. They can nuke down a single entity, like even Scarbrand. Though maybe his 90 armor will save him, but still, you just don't want to be hurt by them. Let your Bloodletters take the damage. Anticity and Zone are moving up carefully, and they're trying to stick together a bit. This big single entity blob. Oof. Herald and 4 Cultists and a Beast of Nurgle. 6 small single entities. Gosh, I hope patch 1.2 fixes that, because small single entities should not be tanky, but they are just due to animations, not due to stats. They do dive in. They are trying to 6v1 Scarbrand. They are getting in their own way a little bit, but we will need support over here for Scarbrand, or he will eventually lose. I made a video about Astromancers beating up Scarbrand when they are in numbers. So these are actual combat single entities, and they will beat up Scarbrand real bad. Do have Bloodletter summons coming out to flank, but, I mean, there's 4 cultists in here for the red teams. They're sure as hell going to throw summons right back at you. And Scarbrand's getting messed up. As we mentioned earlier, he can't be here. You just, like, on paper, you think you could beat Cultists of Nurgle with Scarbrand? Not when there's that many of them. They're going to kill you real bad. Alright. World Beater is currently the damage leader in the game, but Wolfblade is lowest, so between both teams, they're about even. Looks like we're getting some healing thrown in from both Nurgle and... hopefully? Yes. Yes, the ogres are throwing in some, but Scarbrand's already crumbling. He is just getting beaten up. He's going to start disintegrating now, and Scarbrand is dead. Big loss there for the blue team. And now there's going to be a bunch of leadership problems for the blue Khorne forces. You can see they'll start crumbling across the map even faster than before. This is a big old slugfest, and I love it. Yeah, this is a pretty good one. I think opting into fighting those 6 single entities with just Scarbrand was a huge mistake, unfortunately. CA has lots of pressure. Good. They deserve it. They've done a lot of good things, but you got to call them out when they do bad things. And oh boy, did they do bad things with Warhammer 3. Oh boy. Alright, this Cultist of Khorne and the Stonehorn are going to meet the same fate as Scarbrand. It's just throwing... Single entities are... Their stats are only so important. What's more important is how many of them you have in the blob right now. And it's like 6 versus 1 Scarbrand and then 6 versus 2. It doesn't matter if you have a Stonehorn in there who's theoretically really armored and really tanky. It's just too many things. Until they take proper damage and get like 2-shot, it's just a terrible time to fight single entities. Zone and Anticity have taken point 1. They aren't even contesting point 3. They did spawn a halberd up there, but that'll be 5 hours. They are going to take point 2, it looks like, as the last of the Ogres and Exalted Bloodletters are going to fade away. And they can ride their way to a 2-cap victory, possibly. Damage values are close, but leaning in Anticity and Zone's favor. Mapster is leaning in Anticity and Zone's favor. And these damage values mean a little bit less when there is Nurgle healing on the ground. While the Ogres also have healing, it feels like it hasn't been nearly as impactful as Nurgle. And did I say the current red duo was the tournament favorites? I feel like I might have brought that up at one point, and we might be seeing why. Anticity has played a lot of domination mode. I know he loves it. He's a big fan. And Zone 2 was kind of part of that fresh-faced group of people who joined the scene. And really has started hitting it off. A lot of good players joined the Warhammer 3. A lot. Some Fleshhounds fighting Noblar Trappers. I don't know if they could be 2 Noblar Trappers at once. That seems a little risky, but now the Castwarriors and Halberds are here, so they would be just fine. Though it looks like Worldbeater is summoning some reinforcements of his own up there. Really doesn't want to give up the one position they currently are holding. And Anticity and Zone are not yet caught up because the Noblar Trappers held point 3 for so long while the other points were contested. They actually got a bit of a head start. So we will see. Huh. Cultist of Nurgle got messed up by something from Anticity. It looks like the Chaos Spawn have been beaten him to death, so he is shattered and gone. It's one big single entity gun from the Nurgle side. There's still many, many more. Cultist of Khorne still in here fighting. Where's the Blue Herald? Oh, there's no Blue Herald. It was Scarbrand. He's dead. Yeah, I remember that now. I also was watching this game. Slaughtermaster of the Great Maw. I think he needs to be involved in melee combat somewhere because he has Blood Cleaver where you can heal in melee and he has a -8 melee attack aura when he's in... I actually don't think he needs to be in melee, but still, if he's way out here, he's not getting anything out of that aura, so I do think he has to get a little more involved. Looks like he'll involuntarily get involved as the Herald of Nurgle and Occultist of Nurgle go looking for him. This could actually be a big moment. I would like to see them take this fight and get some support. We have Fleshhounds running down that'll do a lot of damage, and the Stonehorn should maybe come back and help with the single entity fight. Snipe out this Cultist, snipe out the Herald of Nurgle while they're not a part of the filthy blob. Could be one way back into this game. Anticity and Zone have pulled ahead. They're currently double capped, so they will keep getting ahead unless something drastically changes. Looks like they're about the blue team's about 4,000 damage value behind. On the balance of power. Without healing. The Fleshhounds, though, you can see this is a big pick. Onto the Herald of Nurgle, he's taken a lot of damage already. More Fleshhounds are going to join in. He might actually have a hard time escaping because Rotflies have pretty terrible mass. They have a harder time getting out of here. Yet another red summon. Just more red summons. They always have summons. Blue and mass exodus around the central point is going to be pretty bad for them. They'll have to hurry up and try to consolidate this position, but the single entities have rejoined up into another blob. The Nurgle caster is healing himself up a little bit and healing everybody around him. And everyone besides the Beast and Nurgle is back in the blob. So, ogres don't want to be there. On the high ground, surprisingly, actually, the Red Forces did lose. I guess the Bloodlighters of Worldbeater were there in time to really bail them on that situation. They will hold on to point 3. And they've kept this game pretty close. When you're fighting Anticity and Zone, I mean, you kind of just want to... I mean, if you're being realistic, you just want a good game, and to say you gave them hell. Because getting blown out of the water is extremely likely. So I'm very impressed right now with the blue team's performance. They're doing well. They're losing, but they're doing well. I haven't beaten Anticity. I mostly played him in land battles, but in Warhammer 3, I think I am 0-5, 0-6 against him, so... That is no shade to the blue team, he's just a very scary man. Herald of Nurgle is still trying to snipe out the Slaughtermaster of the Great Maw, who is helping to fight against the cultists, but as we saw with Scarbrand, he really just doesn't want to be anywhere near this single entity blob. He does need to start leaving. Some more blue Bloodletters join the fight, but a bunch more red units have joined in. I don't know what's a summon and what isn't, but this late in the game, I don't think there's a lot of summons left out on the field. They've probably mostly faded. Stonehorn gets resummoned. I think both Stonehorns were present at one point. Yeah, we saw one die over there. So this is a new Stonehorn. He's coming back in. That is a lot of money to put down on a single entity, though. How close are we to triple cap? Not very close. Anticity and Zone just don't give a crap about 0.3, it looks like. Which I get. Nurgle and Corn are super slow, so they don't want to divide up too much. They'll just blob on the 2 points they have, make sure they keep those. It's a decent strategy. Exalted Plague Bearers are throwing at something. They really should be throwing at the Stonehorn. It looks like they will now. And just their high weapon strength and volume of fire, and it is armor piercing, you're going to see that the Stonehorn would take more damage than you would have thought. Because that boy does have some missile resist, too. So missile resist and insane armor. We'll take some good poke. Lots of crumbling from the red side. To be fair, one of their cultists is routed off. It's just the reinforcements. Worldbeater and Wolfblade just don't have enough reinforcements coming in. Wolfblade has 2,700 supplies. He needs to spend them soon on something coming in. I would like to see maybe a ranged unit. This might be too late in the game for a ranged unit, but I really would have liked to see some Lead Belcher Overwatch Fire or an Iron Blaster Overwatch Fire, as we saw even Star and Ola Grawl do very effectively. Opting fully into melee as Khorne and Ogres versus Nurgle and Khorne, I just don't think you can win that. I would be upset if they did win that, honestly. Because that's kind of all Nurgle and Khorne have. Like when Randmix took that build that just destroyed me in melee as Tzeentch versus Khorne, and I'm like, alright, well if Khorne can't win the melee versus Tzeentch, this sucks ass. So like with Nurgle and Khorne, I would kind of hope they would win the frontline fight. Which is why you'd have to exploit the Ogre's range, and doesn't feel like they really went for that as a game plan. And now he has 3,000 gold in the pocket. You really, really, really got to spend that more aggressively if you're Wolfblade. Because imagine like a Lead Belcher right now, just firing into this blob, or an Iron Blaster. That would be pretty wild. He's heal capped the Stonehorn. I think he's blowing some healing on it. Yeah, he's trying to heal up a unit that's already max healed. So a couple mistakes here from Wolfblade. I've never seen this person before, so I'm just going to assume that they're newer to the game. And if that is true, then I mean, hell of a first showing. You know what I mean? Taking Anticity to Zone to a close-ish game. That's pretty good. Just obviously there's some things to improve on. Spending more of your money more quickly, spending it more aggressively, not using healing on a unit that's already heal capped, taking the Hunters on the Stonehorns rather than just the Stonehorns. Like, it was a good first show. Yeah, I like it. Tzeentch melee is too good, and I'll keep saying it. Yep, they're definitely too good at that thing that they're marketed as being bad at, and then, I mean, it's just Forsaken and Spawn, but still, the fact that it's there. And Blue Horrors are too tanky for what they do. Ogres piling in. They still have 4,000 in the supplies. They need to just dump that out. It's too late in the game now. There's nothing you can do about it, but still, they just need to just spend, get it all out on the field. They're starting to do that now. So, I hope at some point Wolfblade watches this back and take some notes for it for what they can do, but it was a good game. 3,000 to 5,000 is going to be about the end score, which is not bad at all. I wonder if it's just the way Nurgle and Khorne play. I'd be a little worried for Anticity and Zone going to the finals. Since I predicted them to be my favorite, is why I'm worried about them. Because Evenstar and Ulrich had such a good game versus Rinless and Fosen. And Rinless and Fosen aren't people to mess around with. And over here, there's two newer players for Anticity and Zone. This game is much closer. That makes me worried. So, we'll see. Could be just how the factions play. Could be World Beater and Wolfblade had a fucking great game. Don't know.
You have been
Boom.
bested. There is only defeat.
Finals time, baby. Get the blocker up ahead of time. Nothing really too interesting on the damage values to give you guys. Just everything's kind of spread out. And that is a good GG. Wolfblade throwing out the GG guys was lots of fun. Good luck in finals. Good sportsmanship over there. For Poland, posting pretty good memes. All right. Sorry, I'm just checking up on some stuff. Evenstar and Ulrich have their picks. Boop. Okay, and then I need a blocker of some kind. And we're mostly set up. Done. Alright. One side we need Evenstar and Ulrich Rahl. Even Rahl. Even Rahl versus... That's ODM zone. He doesn't have it on his name, but it's there. So the ODM lads. Alright, I'm all set up. I'll wait until we have confirmed Anticity and Zone's picks before I announce what Evenstar and Ulrich picked, just in case, you know. Just in case Anticity or Zone are on the stream. I'm very lax with, like, stream sniping stuff when it's me, but when it's not me, I try to be professional about it. If people snipe me, I'm generally just like, please don't do it, but if you do it, fuck you. I love to see a Mirror Skyjunk versus Gyro Bomber melee duel. I think the Gyro Bomber would probably win that one. I don't think the Skyjunk even has a melee attack. Okay. Alright, Ulrich's here. Evenstar's here. So the first game is the pre-picked factions. So we know that it's going to be Khorne Ogres versus Nurgle Khorne. So it's actually what we just saw. But games 2 and 3 will have different things, because neither team can pick Khorne again, I think, right? Queden, I am 99% sure this is true, but if Ulrich picks Khorne, Evenstar can't pick Khorne in game 2, right? For both of them, it's completely shot. I am pretty sure that's true. But wait for him. Good showing for my partner. Thanks for playing, and GG to both Zone and Anticity. Best of luck to those playing later on. May the odds forever be in your favor. World Beater in the chat. We just saw him in the last game. We were trash talking you the entire game. You should probably go back and watch that and just I fucking rip into you guys I hope you never appear on my stream again. I hate you as a person. All right, cool. Yeah. World beater. Yeah. No, that's obviously a joke. You guys did better than I would have thought. So you should be proud of that. It was a good game. It was a good game. Again, I know Evenstar and Ulrich Rawls picks for game 2 and 3. But I will not share those until we have Inticities and Zones picks locked in. Good fight you had. Let your partner know to rewatch the fight on Rat Boy stream. True. Larry Menendez. Thanks for having me in the tournament. It was my first one. I had a ton of fun. Got to face Intisity and Zone, which was exciting. I am guessing that you are Wolfblade. It was good having you. You both played very, very well. As Cyrus said, I would recommend at some point in the future watching your battle on the stream. I had a couple things to say, but you guys both played very well, considering you're fighting frickin' Intisity and Zone. And if you don't know who they are, I mean, you know who Intisity is most likely, but Zone did take Evenstar to the finals, took him to 3 games, and it was a close series just last week. So you were facing 2 people who were not fucking around, and you didn't get blown out. So I think that's the most anybody can ask for. So be happy about that. Be happy about that. Okay. Judging by the picks Queden sent to me, I am guessing that I was correct. That you cannot, if Ulrich Rawl is Corrin, Evenstar cannot be Corrin in game 2 because none of their picks match what they played before. Ally was super good. Enjoyed playing with your World Beater. Yeah, World Beater's a G. World Beater is a swell individual. Nurgle Corn Ogres. You're very sweaty right now, just came to say that. You've been doing a lot of work outside, Jeremy. Up here in Minnesota, gorgeous. Just gorgeous. Wonderful day out. Took the pups for a walk, sat near the river. Thought you needed to know that. It's beautiful. I love this time of year. Summer's nice. Spring and fall are definitely my favorite. So I'd go spring, fall, summer, winter. Winter is like a far fourth. We're like spring and fall are pretty close in the top. Summer is like behind them by a little bit, but it's noticeable. And then like winter's way down there. I don't hate winter. I enjoy every season for its own thing, but winter is definitely my least favorite. Okay, we have Intisity and Zones picks, so now I can talk about it. So game 1, Ogres and Corn versus Corn and Nurgle. I personally favor Ogres and Corn because I feel like the Ogres are going to shoot pretty well. Though we did see Nurgle and Corn do fine there earlier. I don't know. I think they'll... I don't know. Especially how Evenstar plays. Like, he almost always has a frickin' Iron Blaster. He almost always has double Hunter Stonehorn. The last game we saw him just take 1, so maybe he's dialing back on that. But I think they're going to do a lot of shooting. So game 2. Cathay and Ogres for Intisity and Zone versus Slaanesh and Tzeentch for Ulrich Rawl and Slaanesh and Tzeentch for Ulrich Rawl and Evenstar. Cathay is normally pretty bad in domination mode, but I think 2v2 might be okay for them because they can offer a lot of support while their ally takes the front. And with Ogres, that is particularly poignant because Ogres are fast. They're very fast. And Cathay's problem is all their infantry is slow. So if you can waddle those slow pikemen up to the point, sit on it, and then Ogres can run around wherever you need guys, like right now, real quick. And then Cathay can sit back and shoot too. Ogres could also shoot. Versus Slanesh and Tzeentch. They do want to overrun you, actually. And Slanesh is pretty good against ogres in the open field. Okay, yeah. Game 2 might be tough. As I say that, I think Cathay and Ogres is a good combo on paper, but I think Slanesh and Tzeentch is just going to be too good against them. So I would say Anticity and Zone are disfavored in Game 2. Game 1 I could see going either way. And then for Evenstar and Ulrich, Cathay and Nurgle round 3. And Anticity and Zone, Kislev and Slanesh round 3. I don't know, man. Again, that one I would say is either even, or I would give it to Evenstar and Ulrich Rahl. So I think the picks are... I think Anticity and Zone are in trouble with the picks after Game 1, personally. I'm happy to be wrong. Happy to be wrong. But I think they better... Anticity and Zone need to win Game 1. That's their most even matchup. Winter is the best. No allergies, no bugs, sweat, fresh, chilly air, holiday festivals. I agree, except for Christmas. Hey, man. Winter might be the best in England over there, or wherever you live, Queden. I think... I know you're somewhere in the European sphere of thing, but, like... Dude, in Minnesota, winter literally lasts about 5 to 6 months every year. It gets really cold. The problem isn't how cold it gets, like... Because there's some years where it gets brutally cold, and there's some years where it's just chilly. It's the length, for me. It's the length. That it's 5 to 6 months where I can't go for runs. Your time outside is limited. Whenever you want to go outside, you have to get boots and a car, yes. Boots and a coat and gloves, and it's like you're preparing to like go to battle when you just want to go down the street and stuff. And I can't bike to work anymore. I have to walk to work in the winter because of the ice and stuff, and you have to scrape your car every time you want to go anywhere. It's just Summer it's nice because Grace and I went and got a beer last night, but we got a deck of cards, grabbed a beer, sat at a picnic table outside the restaurant, and just played some gin. And Grace just turned to me and she was like, "You want to go grab a beer?" And I said, "Sure," and we went. Whereas in the winter, it's like a whole thing. Like you're like, "Oh, well, I don't know if we have enough time because it's gonna take us like 30 minutes to get the car ready to go, like, get there." Whereas in this, we just, "You want to get a beer?" "Sure." Threw sandals on, left. Boom. Boom! What else faces Slanesh and Tzeentch? Oh, we. Okay, sorry. I'm always looking for the abbreviations. Faces Slanesh and Tzeentch in our first round, it was a slaughter of a game. True. And since we saw you in the semifinals, I'm guessing you won it, Wolfblade. Ogres and Khorne is a little different than Ogres and Cathay. Maybe. I just worry. I worry about the Ogres in that matchup because I feel like they're going to get shot with Blue Horrors, and then Slanesh has a lot of good units versus the Ogres. In land battles where it's just units versus units and there's no capture points, Slanesh is one of their only good matchups is into Ogres, and it's real good. Can I show the bracket? Sure. We're loading in now, but I can show the bracket real quick. Boom. Big B's and Dante's Inferno versus Rinless and Fozen. Rinless and Fozen went up. Ulrich Rahl and Evenstar versus Race and Llama 13K. Evenstar and Ulrich advanced. And then that matchup, Evenstar and Ulrich are in the finals, which we are now in. Anticity and Zone just haven't updated the challenge. Anticity and Zone beat Samaric and Captain Melons. And then Wolfblade at 1996 and World Beater at 98 beat Yura Kastaltum and Man 111. Then they faced off, and Anticity and Zone have moved on to the finals. You are caught up. And I need to get rid of this blocker because we're into the game. Scraping and having a mist in the car when you need to go to work is truly the worst thing about winter. Yes, I agree. I agree. Oh, it's this map, the Silver Spire. Okay. I know some Dom players don't like this map, but I like it in small bursts. I feel like Ratboy's not telling us not to move to Minnesota. I like Minnesota. I like things about it. There are things I don't like about it, but I think everywhere is that. I don't think anywhere is literally perfect. You got your Derpus book, by the way? Yeah. It's a fun little adventure. It was cute. It was a silly time. I probably spent too much money on it, but it's okay. Derp Deepest kills a guy. I have a video coming out soon. Well, not coming out soon. I haven't made it yet, but I'm still working on getting all the pieces together. But I have a video I also spent too much money on, but hopefully people will get a giggle. Alright, we have loaded up. The timer went back to 600 seconds, which means we made it. Alrighty. For Even Star and Ulrich Brawl, we do have double Stonehorns with the Hunters on top. We have an Iron Blaster, classic Even Star, Slaughtermaster of the Great Maw, and some Ogre Bills with dual weapons. On the other side for Ulrich Brawl, we have Scarbrand, Cultist, still just one Cultist, not two, and a whole bunch of Chaos Warriors, including one Exalted Bloodletter. On the other side, for Anticity and Zone, I wonder, do they just do the same exact build? It does look like it. Some Chaos Spawns, some Plague Bears, Exalted Plague Bears, and double Exalted Bloodletter with 4 Cultists. All of them have their summon. We have a Beast of Nurgle, we have a Herald of Khorne, and in the sky we have a Herald of Nurgle of Nurgle. I did say of Nurgle twice because he is not a Herald of Nurgle of Death. Now, as we saw at the last game, I think Anticity and Zone might struggle a little bit more with the ranged pressure coming in from these ogres. They will get shot a lot. Now, maybe they've planned in for that, and hopefully they have if they have any chance in this game, but I do think the 6 single entities are a lot less potent if they're getting sniped. Because the Hunters... everybody focuses on the Stonehorns aspect of the Hunters on the Stonehorns, which is pretty good. It's very good, don't get me wrong, but those spears they chuck do work. I have had many games where I took Boris Ursus versus them, and he was kicking tons of ass until the player just realized, don't fight him, back up and throw those javelins. And they were like, about 8 javelins took him down to 1/3 health. It was brutal. So don't underestimate the kiting power of these big boys. Iron Blaster is firing again. Meanwhile, Khorne and the Ogres are just spamming a whole bunch of infantry coming out of the spawn, trying to get up into the fight before too long. Iron Blaster firing in. I thought that was going to be a bad shot, but it actually killed a lot of Exalted Bloodletters. Wow. Alright. Meanwhile, Nurgle is spawning in more units. They're coming in from their other spawn as well. Kind of want to get a bit of a flank here, but they are spotted now. This is not going to be unknown to the other forces. And the double Hunters are moving up. What are they going to throw at? Looks like for now they're just throwing at Spawn and Exalted Bloodletters. Not terrible targets. Exalted Bloodletters only have 10 armor, especially... Ooh, actually, they have 40, but they had Sundered for a little bit. Still, no shields. Decent little poke damage. And as the Hunters, you're not particularly worried about your ammunition. It's very hard to run out of it. Double Cannonball Barrage. Doing more damage than I would have thought, and Scarbrand's Breath Attack as well. They're really getting a ton of damage out early on. You can see it's about 1,000 untraded damage value right now. One of the Stonehorns is going to get hit with the double Cultists of Nurgle. Looks like they're on horseback to run down this exact type of animal. They're having a hard time really sticking on it and getting their attacks in. They are getting a few pokes here and there, but they are going to overextend soon into Noblars and Chaos Warriors. So they'll want to pull back most likely in a jiffy. Anticity and Zone still advancing. They really want this central point, and they haven't sent down anyone to point 1 yet. It looks like these Nurglings are spawned for that exact purpose, but you do want to get that. Since on this map specifically, points 1 and points 3 are so hard to capture for the other side, it's extremely important to be on it when it unlocks so you can have that for as long as possible, because that can be the deciding factor in this game. If your opponent captures it way before you, they just have an unnecessary lead, and then they have less, you know, they have to win the middle point like 48% of the time, and you have to win it for 52 instead of 50-50. So it's a pretty big deal. Hunters are still running around with... Oh, he got shot by his own guy. Very funny. Alright, Hunters are running around with mostly impunity until they get shot with their own Iron Blaster. Just cycle charging where they want to, getting in a couple shots here and there. I kind of want the Iron Blaster to shoot him again, just because it would have been funny, but it looks like that time it actually hit what it was aiming for. Scarbrand got a nice breath attack down the side, and the Ogres and Khorne lead is growing on the damage value, but I suppose that's not foreign to Nurgle and Khorne. They just got to walk up slowly into the line of fire. Bone Crusher is going to land on these Exalted Plague Bearers and nearly delete them. I wouldn't be surprised if they started crumbling soon. It's going to be pretty bad. It looks like we have double summons coming out. It's all red team summons. They're kind of summoned into already the frontline fight, so I wonder if they'll be able to be that effective. Stonehorn's throwing down more cannonball type attacks. Really trying to soften up this front line. That's just so much damage getting done. Nurglings have captured point 1. Point 3 was captured by the Ogre Kingdom, and the center is currently held by the gigantic, massive blob of Khorne and Nurgle. But for how long, he asks, as they get shot to absolute bits. Both sides are about even on money, so it's not like there's any unknown reinforcements coming in. We do have Chaos Spawn, Beast of Nurgle, we have some other guys coming in here. Meanwhile, the Ogres and Khorne throwing out a ton of guys that are about to join the fray. I really like Evenstar and Ulrich Rawl's position at the moment. I think they will end up in an advantageous state as we see more and more red units are crumbling away or dying outright, and some of these summons are going to fade. Yeah, like that Bloodletter, that half-health Bloodletter is gone entirely. And the capture weight was going a little bit blue there for just a second, but then it fades away. Where are our double hunters? How are they doing? One's at half health, which is actually pretty good. Little poke, and one is missing about a quarter. It's not terrible from the red side. I wonder what Anticity is going to be doing up here with the Herald and Nurgle. I haven't seen a lot of streams of Corruption, but I actually haven't been watching for them that much. They're not as obvious as like that big cannonball is coming down from the sky or anything like that. Maybe they've been spending a lot on healing. I don't know. But we do see exactly what was happening to Worldbeater and Wolfblade as the Stonehorns get locked up in these like 6 small single entities and just get beaten to death. It's not about the quality of the single entities, it's about how many you can get. Evenstar's Iron Blaster is trying to find a good angle to shoot. It is running a little bit low on ammo, and it's running into some obstruction problems at the current moment. The other Stonehorn that has about half health is going to pull away from the front line, and Scarbrand is going on a bit of a suicide mission as he gets caught between Chaos Spawn and his own Ogres, and you can see, like flies to a burning carcass, all of the single entities start descending from Nurgle and Khorne to really trap in Scarbrand, just like they did last game. They're really trying to take him out. Ulrich Rahl senses he is in extreme danger and starts to run away. Plus, Nurgle is getting some fecundity that'll heal him up a little bit. And another stream of corruption is going to hit all these Khorne warriors, and Exalted Bloodthirsters. Bloodthirsters does a lot of damage. Meanwhile, a secondary push coming in from Zone, really trying to get on the side of the Ogres and Khorne here, and it looks like they're holding them off for now, but it may not last forever. That's a lot of Khorne units flooding in. Ogre Kingdoms have enough capture weight for just the moment to take the second point. It looks like they are going to start catching up on capture weight. That's a lot of Ogres chilling around. For the red team, it's mostly single entities in here, so they don't have an incredible capture rate. This game needs less SCM blobs. Yes, it do, but that is the 7 factions they picked in the game. 5 of them want to blob, so that's what you get. All right, Scarbrand charges back in here. Big, big mistake. You can see he's just taking all of the damage possible. Curse of the Slug is going to slow him down 45% speed, so he's down to 24. He's really having a hard time getting out of here. All these single entities beat him up just as we saw last game. And Scarbrand will start crumbling. He even was on shattering potential there for a second, but he goes back to just basic crumbling. And his leadership does recover. On the far side, some Ogres and Khorne units are trying to get a cheeky flank on. It looks like these Flesh Hounds that stopped them for a moment will soon dissipate. More Exalted Plague Bearers pile onto the point. Trying to get some more capture weight here, but it looks like the Ogres have just a ton. You can see the double up arrows were there for a little bit. Scarbrand gets a quick little breath attack down, and the balance of the damage value bounce power has evened up a lot. Red team is still about 3,000 behind, but it's better than it was at the start of the game. So good for them. Steam of Corruption is going to hit a whole bunch of Noblars. You can say they're just going to get nuked down. Their leadership immediately fails, and they will run for their lives. More Ogres pile onto point 2. This is exactly what we talked about at the start of the game with that point 1. Nobody on this map contests point 1 or point 2. Point 3. It's all about how long can you hold the mills. It's kind of like a single capture point game, honestly. Unless you have strong cavalry, which 2 factions do in the entire game. Yeah, 2. Cathay is maybe a 3rd, but I don't think they're that great. Mostly just Slaanesh and Kislev. Lama Box. Thanks, Llama. Ooh, Llama sending me memes. So that breakthrough we saw from Nurgle and Khorne on this side did not pan out. Just too many reinforcements came in to help them. We do have lead belchers on the backside that I didn't see, offering a little bit more support fire from Evenstar. And this is the problem I was foreseeing with this game. Is now we're about to even up, but it's just like the ogres with their ability to sit back and shoot. Feels like they're getting so much damage out, it's really hard for Khorne to do anything. The only problem left could be the single entity blob. Ranged units are terrible at shooting at them. They can't see most of the time. One of the hunters has come back. He's almost at his healing cap, and he is about to break again. The other hunter is at quite low health as well, though I don't see his healing cap, so he could maybe get more healing from the Troll Guts caster, wherever that guy is. Where is the Troll Guts caster? Oh, he's way over here dealing with spawn. Nablo trappers are even going to help him kill all these spawn. It's looking brutal for Anticity Zone. I don't know how they can get back in this game. Evenstar and Rawl even making a crazy play on the backside. They ran over here. I don't know where those Nurglings went. It looks like they left the point just briefly, and they saw that opportunity. Double dogs are going to run in. Dogs have pretty horrific capture weight for some reason. So it doesn't look like it's going to be captured too quickly, and maybe these red forces will be able to get back here. But the main point isn't taking point 1. That's not really the objective. The objective is to pull your opponent away from point 2. And start supporting the less. We can see for a second there, point 2 was starting to get captured by the red team, but now with 2 dog units and 2 infantry units all pulled away to go defend point 1, that gives the ogres some time to resecure point 2. I don't, like, as a balanced discussion, I really don't love how long it takes dogs to take point 1, because that feels like that should be their entire niche, is they're fast and good at capturing. Like, isn't that kind of cool? That sets up cool flanking plays, or like sneak stuff. Like, it just seems like a fun gameplay mechanic, and it sucks that they're so terrible at taking it. Anyway, back in the middle, Nurgle has now taken point 2. Despite the little distraction, they do have enough weight on the point to take it, and Skarbrand is once again in a pickle as his last Stonehorn leaves him. He's entirely trapped up in single entities. He's trying to leave, having a little bit of trouble, flapping his wings a whole bunch. He hasn't taken as much damage as I would have thought, but actually, oh, he has an upgraded Troll Guts on him this whole time, and he's staying even on health, so yeah, he's taking a lot of damage. Iron Blaster and Lead Belchers are trying to fire in here. One of the hunters is just standing on the sidelines throwing his spears. I did mention how brutal those things are. They can do a lot of damage. And this could be a big problem. Anticity's Herald of Nurgle is rampaging back into Skarbrand, and all the single entities do need to join up with him, try and bail him out of a bad situation as Noblars take some serious friendly fire and do rout off. But the hunters sitting back and just chucking their spears is going to be a pretty big problem for the single entity blob. Can't say I am that sad to see the single entity blob having problems. Stalking goblins are stinks, yeah. So red team now has the double cap. They're trying to catch back up on points, and they will very soon. This is a quite close game if it has been a little slow. I will not pretend it hasn't been slow, but that's what you get for Khorne Nurgle versus Khorne Ogres. Ogres are the only fast faction around here. And Skarbrand is nearly healing capped. He is going to start crumbling again soon, and he is entirely surrounded by single entities. And the ogres need to get in here. We have some man-eaters pistols. They have a lot of stuff that's here to deal damage, but they don't have a ton of things that can really sit on that point and capture, which is a bit unfortunate. It looks like they're trying to cut off some of the reinforcements of the red team, and that is working, but eventually those reinforcements will get here. And a really weird turn of events. It felt like things were going so well for the blue side until they just all of a sudden weren't. Skarbrand takes a little bit of friendly fire, it looks like, and he does start to crumble. Will he rally in time to stop that crumbling, or will the crumbling itself snowball? It looks like it is going to snowball. Skarbrand will die on his own in the corner, and that will cause a big leadership debuff for the blue Khorne units. Doesn't look like any of them are that low that it really matters. They're about to lose their lord. Skarbrand does charge back in, trying to get a quick combat bonus to keep him healthy. Leadership-wise, but it won't happen. He is going to crumble away. Last of Stonehorns comes back in. I feel like these guys have broken so many times that this next one has to be a shatter. And the Ogre Lord is even caught and killed from Evenstar, and that is a huge problem. Now, at this point in the game, he's probably out of Winds of Magic. He has cast so many spells, so maybe it's not the biggest deal, but still, losing your Lord like that, the Ogre leadership is going to spike down. Even this Hunter may leave soon with the Lord debuff as soon as his charge bonus wears off against these Chaos Spawn. We can see blue units wavering all over the place, and Even, not even Star. Inticity and Zone are going to claw that one back. Around the mid-game, I was thinking they were mega doomed, but I guess they just hung in there. They're still behind on damage value, but Nurgle does heal up a lot of that stuff. That's looking like, yeah, 600 points needed to 1,100, yeah. If they can hold point 2 for just a little bit longer, I'd say until about 4,600. At 4,600, they only need 1 point to win this game. And that is looking like that. That Hunter on a Stonehorn is going to fight to the end, even after his frickin' Lord died. That's how insane those units are. Alright. It's official. Green team needs 1,000 points, while the other team needs 400. You just need 0.1. That is GG. A surprising, if somewhat grueling, comeback. Look at Even Star, 21,000 damage value. It's wild. He's gonna lose that game anyway. It's not like Ulrich's slacking. Ulrich is tied for second most damage in the entire game. Even Star is way ahead at first most damage in the entire game, and yet that's the team that's losing because they're fighting someone with a crap ton of healing.
You have been bested. There is only defeat.
Am I ready for the value? I'm guessing the Streams of Corruption got a lot of value, so I'm guessing that the Nurgle Lord is going to be insane. 3,100. That's pretty good for a non-Mortis Engine Lord. The Mortis Engine Lord is quite typical to get that much, but not that guy. But we talked about at the start. Inticity and Zone needed to win this game because I don't think their next two matchups are favored for them. So they needed that buffer. They need to be able to lose a game. Because I think these next two fights are going to be uphill. I thought this one was even, if not slightly disfavored. 3,800 value on the Iron Blaster. Oof. Lead Belchers got 2,700. Man Eaters, the pistols did great. Any of the ranged units did really, really well. It's just the melee units got chewed up. Unpopular opinion, I think you just don't bring any Noblars if you can, or bring as little of them as possible. Trappers are fine, but Noblars, you're just feeding Zone's army passives, and they're going to insta-killed by Streams of Corruption. I just don't think they're great. Because normally you only bring Noblars as a front line so that your ogres don't get hit as much, right? But you have Khorne Warriors for that. You don't need Noblars. That'd be my only thought, but it was obviously an extremely close game between players who are all better than me, so grain of salt there on that advice. Alrighty. So the next factions are Ogres and Cathay versus Tzeentch and Slaanesh. On Battle for Itza. Is that the map? Oh. Oh, no. Okay, I really don't like this for Inticity and Zone, then. The map's small. I was thinking if it was a bigger map, at least they could shoot their way. Like, really punish Tzeentch and Slaanesh in the advance, but this map is so small, they're going to get run down. Yeah. I'd say if this matchup was played by AI, I would guess I'd guess Tzeentch and Slaanesh would win this 2v2 about 70% of the time on this map. So yeah. It just feels really bad to have a small map like this. And two factions that can blitz you hard. Like Slaanesh's Cav, obviously. They have Chariots. Their Chariots aren't great in most situations, but they are good at disrupting things, like Cathay. You can just roll them through some archers, and even if they don't do any damage, the archers all still have to stand up. They have to get back together. And this is not a bug. It's like the same as Warhammer 2. That's Chariot's function, right? And that's one of the things that, to talk about balance in general for a second, I feel like some of the conversation is missing about the Kislev Chariots. why they're so broken. It's not the fact that they deal so much damage compared to other chariots. Like, it's not that the Slanesh chariots are bad and the Khorne chariots are bad. The reason the Kislev chariots are so upsetting is because they do so much damage when that's not a chariot's function. Like, chariots are disruption pieces. They're supposed to be really slippery and annoying. And what you just do, you see good chariot plays, like Randomnix especially does this a lot, where he takes one chariot and he just runs through your archers over and over and over again. Your archers aren't dying, they also just aren't shooting because they can't fucking stand up. Ever. They're constantly getting knocked down. Sure, you take like a couple models from them or whatever. And that's why the Kislev chariots are so broken, is they can do that and insta-kill all of them. And it's like, alright, feels cool. Whereas that's kind of the trade-off of chariots versus cavalry. Like, chariots can bust through a front line pretty easily and do a lot of disruption, but they're not supposed to deal a lot of damage because they only have 3 models at most. Whereas cavalry can't get through a front line, it gets caught up. But if it does get to the back line, it has 24 to 36 models depending on what you're using. So that's 24 to 36 units that are all slapping and killing stuff. So they'll kill things a lot quicker. But the problem with chariots in Warhammer 3, more specifically Kislev chariots, is they also just are better at killing the things cavalry is supposed to kill. So why would you take cav? And the first update changed that a little bit. The first update made cav better than they were, but still chariots are better at cleaning up massive amounts of infantry than cav are, which isn't correct. Have you played Rome 1? Chariots wreck cav? Chariots shouldn't wreck cav. That's not how that goes historically. Also, the problem with, like, chariots is obviously, when I'm talking about that, 1 horseman versus 1 chariot. Yes, the chariot will kill infantry faster. Yes, but we're talking about a system where it's 3 chariots versus 24 to 36 horsemen, right? Perspective. I am not saying that 1 chariot would kill less guys than 1 dude on a horse. That is not true. Chariots are way better at killing people than 1 horseman. It's all about volume. Anyway. Even Star and Tisty are definitely better than you. You aren't worse than Ulrich and Zone. At least not by a lot. I would say in Domination mode I am. I'm pretty bad at Domination mode. And that makes sense. Like, that's not just self-deprecating. I haven't played a lot of Domination mode. I haven't practiced a bunch of it. So it would be kind of silly if I was good. Like, oh, Human Boy's one of the best at it. He's barely ever played it in practice. That would just be a bad game mode. Like, that would be a bad game mode if practicing it meant nothing and I could just beat experienced players at it without trying. That, yeah. No, in land battles, I give Evenstar a good run for his money every once in a while. He still beats me most of the time, but I give him a pretty good run. Ulrich Rahl, I haven't played him too much. In Warhammer 2, I would beat him maybe half the time, maybe a little less, 40-60. Inticity, I just always have struggled against. I beat him like twice in Warhammer 2 across all of our times. In Zone, I beat him in land battles pretty consistently, and I lose to him in Domination mode pretty consistently, so yeah, it's just different. McRightface, ooh, man! What up, dude? Zone is very close to Inticity level in Domination. Zone's great. He's pretty great. Daniel trying to up the likes. Human is one of the best at everything? Oh, of course. Oh, of course. Just perfect. We've talked a little bit about Warhammer 3 being different than Warhammer 2, but some of the weird things is like in the ways you can't quite explain. And we did that Warhammer 2 tournament earlier in the week. And even the single entity blob fights were somehow more interesting than in Game 3. Like, they were kind of intense to cast, which is odd. I think it's just because things hit more often. So there's just more damage going around. But, yeah. We got a couple comments on that video. I think it was mostly just one person. And their opinions, that's fine. But they were just saying, like, you complain about too much stuff. And I'm like, that's the brand. I'm the funny complains about things guy. Because I always try to make it very clear, not that I'm joking, like, when I complain about things, I legitimately don't like them. But I also try to say, like, you can have your own opinions. Like, what if, Wood Elf players are allowed to like Wood Elves. I hate Wood Elves to the bottom of my soul. But that doesn't mean if somebody plays Wood Elves, I'm like, how could you possibly like them? It's like, I can see how you're having fun with them. I don't have to have fun in that way. Like, I like Skaven, and there's plenty of people out there who don't like Skaven. Plenty of people. If Adelmo's still around watching RTK Aller Crawl, I'm pretty sure he doesn't like watching Skaven. Like, it's to each their own. Some people bitch about Skaven. I'm like, that's fine. You can bitch about stuff. I love bitching about stuff. I love watching like YouTube channels that review movies when the movies are bad. I love watching bad movie reviews. I love listening to people just tear into stuff. It's like my favorite thing. Oh, it's so good. Especially like, what was his name? It's not CinemaSins. That guy's kind of nitpicky, and I like him too, but it's not what I was talking about. It's not the Angry Joe Show. There was a different movie review channel. Your Movie Sucks. I love that guy. I don't agree with him on a lot of his opinions, but I love his presentation of the opinions. Because it's just very funny. I think he's a very entertaining guy who talks about things. And he's not very PC, so if you go look him up and you're like, this guy's a dickhead, it's like, yeah, he can be kind of a dickhead. But I don't know. He's just so over the top about his expressions. Someone's messaging me, is it important? Okay, it's Llama. It's not about this game. Zone. Yes, this version of the Zone is the best. Thanks, Llama. But like, if there's a movie that makes a minor mistake, he'll just freak out about it. And it's definitely not proportional at all, but he's just like, what are you doing? This is the least competent audio design I've seen since a baby shrieked into a microphone. There was so much peaking, it's awful. And this actor is so terrible. She's lifeless. Look at her. And like the actress, for me, I'm not, he has like majors in film and stuff and I don't. And the actress is like, you know, Remy, I love you. And I'm like, it was a little flat, but it was fine. And he's just like, what are you doing? You're so trash. You're the worst actress I've ever seen. I hope you never get a job again. Whoever hired you for this film is an idiot, a fool, and should be fired immediately. And I'm like, I'm just there for it. You know? It's just entertaining. So I like to watch that stuff. So then I channel it into, I try to make content I want to see, you know? So I also am over the top about stuff. And I love when the comments are like, you know, bro, did you really get that mad that a fireball missed? And I'm like, partially, yeah, I was pretty pissed that fireball missed for no reason. But also, it's just funny. Like, does anybody remember Warhammer 2, that game I had where I was facing lizardmen? On Northern Chaos Waste, they're slightly above me. And I had double hell cannon on the low ground as Chaos. And I was firing my hell cannon up. And Mazda Mundi, big boy, was sitting perfectly still. And his salamanders next to him were sitting perfectly still. And my cannons missed everything all game. And then I went and made a video about that. That was hilarious. Now, I think even Cyrus was one of the people that pointed out, like, hell cannons suck at shooting uphill. That can be true, but it's also just hilarious to see them missing literal dinosaurs standing still. Like, it's the size of a fucking house. And you can't hit it with homing missiles. It's just funny. Alright. Definitely prefer land battles, but domination and entertainment for short bursts. Yeah, Wolfblade, I could agree with that. I like land battles a little bit more too. Queden pointing out the game 2 is superior in every way. Thanks, Queden. Thanks, buddy. I think when Immortal Empire races come out, this game's going to be a banger. I think the sheer combinations of factions is going to be so awesome and interesting that Warhammer 3 will get revitalized. Even Dom mode is going to be pretty interesting when there's just so many picks. Because right now, part of the reason it's stale is, like, out of the 7 races, 5 of them just want to blob up on you. You hate playing against Skaven, you can't bring anything good against them, Coops? I would disagree you can't bring anything good against them, but they are certainly a very good faction. Skaven are a very good faction. I think they were underrated. At the end of Warhammer 2, people thought that, like, in general, people thought they were pretty bad. And then at the very, very end, a lot of higher level players are picking Skaven back up and realizing they're not that bad. They weren't OP anymore like they were for the longest time. But I think people overreacted and like, oh, they're not OP, they're trashed here. And it's like, nah, they have issues, but they're okay. I would admit to liking Skaven. Normal furries trying to hide beneath being furries. Not Ratboy, though. He's an open degenerate. I am not, but thank you. Must be a Skaven inside since he feeds off the suffering of others. Time to point out how cute Ulrich's dog is. Is that... Wait, is that profile picture actually Ulrich Girl's dog? Because if so, that's pretty cute. I didn't know if you just got a random picture off of the internet, but that's pretty cute. You love double hell cannon versus Brett. They have a hard time hitting cav units. They do. People talk like I will fix the game, but not if they don't fix the bugs and unresponsive units. It'd be the same boring bad game with more factions. I guess, Queden, I am lumping it in with the fact that they said in patches 1.2 and 1.3 they would fix a lot of the issues that we are having. And that wasn't like... That wasn't... I don't know. I would believe it less... Here's my thing. I would believe it less if they were wrong or if they were generic. Or if they were saying, oh, we know everyone is having a problem with... Fury is not attacking flying units. And then I'm like, what? That is literally not true. No one is having that problem. What are you saying? Furies are fine at attacking flying units, but they aren't. In their patch notes, they said, we know Furies are having problems when they attack ground units. I'm like, okay, so they correctly identified a problem. And the other thing is they didn't come out and say, we know there are bugs and we'll fix it. And it's like, which bugs? Do you actually know what's wrong with this game? And in their roadmap, other issues aside, I'm not defending C8, but I will say on this issue, on their roadmap, they specifically kept pointing out, like, oh, ranged units don't attack when they should. That's kind of strange. Or units will reform too much instead of fighting. That's kind of strange. Or Furies, like, try to land and then can't attack ground units very well. That's kind of strange. And, like, they point out the specific problems, so I'm like, okay, they've identified the problem. They're usually... pretty good at fixing specific problems. They're also really good at creating specific problems. But Warhammer 2, you know, the Beastman DLC came out, the Tuskor Chariots were broken, and CA pretty quickly said, we fucked up. We fucked up. We'll fix it. Okay, have fun at the movie. Sorry, Grace was leaving. But, like, they identified it, and they fixed it. They fixed it pretty okay. Now, their balancing is an issue. I will not defend their balancing, because Grom the Paunch has been unbalanced forever. But he hasn't been broken forever. He was functioning as intended. They just weren't very good at balancing what he was intended to be. You know what I mean? So that's a little different. But I'm cautiously optimistic that they'll fix the bugs, and then Immortal Empires will come out, and it'll be good. Now, they could identify the bugs and then half fix them, and they still kind of suck, but... that remains to be seen. I kind of have to be optimistic, though. Otherwise, my channel is fucked. Anyway. Odelmo's confirming that is indeed Ulrich Girl's dog. Everyone's asking when. Boo, correct. I'm worried if they rush IE out, then the old factions will have the same problems. Yes. And Torax isn't balanced at all. Torax is also not balanced. I didn't say they were great at balancing, but they are good at identifying bugs and fixing them. Bugs, yes. Balance, no. In Roadmap, they ship-tuck the battle presence of one of the top 5 multiplayer factions. Warrior Cast Wars problems their campaign is horrible. The roster might be old, but it works. Oh, that? Yeah. No. Balancing? No. Bugs? Yes. Very different concepts. So, on to the game. Anticity does have the Dragon-blooded Shuki Lord of Yang. I do think she's the best. He has way too many spells on her. That is a lot. He has Jade Shield, just to get some Winds of Magic regen from the currently busted Jade Amulet spam. That is still broken. Dragon's Breath. Wall Fire, I think, is terrible. I am ready to be proven wrong. Constellation of the Dragon, I think it's good, but too expensive. So I don't really know why he brought those two. You could probably just bring him with the Dragon Breath. Maybe he had extra funds and didn't want to spend them on anything else. Who knows? Blue Fire's coming in at a good angle. The Yang Lord is going to try and dodge it. Which does get a couple off. Nice dodging there. As for the rest of the build, in general, we have Peasant Longspearman backed up by 4 Celestial Dragon Guard, the Halberd Infantry. Very, very interesting. Quick ping fire from Ulrich Rahl is going to take half health off of a peasant unit. But 4 Spearmen, no cannons, no ranged. Very interesting stuff from Anticity. Meanwhile, for zone, we do have a Hunter on a Stonehorn. We have some Ogre Bulls with Iron Fists. We have some Man-Eater pistols. In the trees, we have a Slaughtermaster with Great Maw avoiding blue fires. We have Saber-Tusk packs. We have double Astromancer. Both on foot. Okay. So they're both just here for mana recharge. They both have the Cloak of Pome. Interesting. So double mana battery in the woods. No spells on them. Not even around its Thunderbolt. Double Saber-Tusk pack, and we have some triple gold Chevron Jade Warriors getting spawned now, and some Jade Warrior Crossmen. That is very heavily relying on the Dragon-Blooded Shugi Lord of Yang not getting sniped versus Tzeentch, which is bold. That is exactly why I was worried about Constellation of the Dragon. It didn't even get through the shields of Pink Horrors. That was just a wasted 18 Winds of Magic. And sure, I guess he technically has infinite Winds of Magic, but it still has to take time to come back, so I did not love that cast at all. On the other side, Evenstar and Ulrich Rahl, we have a bunch of pink horrors. Cool to see them today, I guess. We have some blue horrors as well, backing them up. Spawn, Forsaken. We have a Soul Grinder of Slaanesh. Ooh, first Soul Grinder we've seen today. More Forsaken. We have some Chaos Marauders with spears, swords, a couple Demonettes of Slaanesh. A real mixed bag. Double Cultists, both with their summons, I would presume. And up on the high ground, we have some spawns. So a very, very diverse Slaanesh build here from Evenstar. And Ulrich has the Exalted Lord of Change of Tzeentch, with double fires of Tzeentch being the blue and the pink. Wall of Wind and Fire also getting cast, just going absolutely insane with the Winds of Magic, followed up by a Dragon Breath. And it's doing okay damage, but I really don't believe in that spell. It doesn't look like it does anything at all. Yeah, that spell sucks. That spell sucks ass. If you're at home, don't take that spell. That spell's terrible. Alright. Grumpy Guard, I'll answer that after the game. There's a lot going on, but I acknowledge that you typed words. Double Astromancer has left the safety of the trees. It looks like they're going to lend some of their capture weight to 0.3. Just trying to be out here and be safe. And it is a battle of the spells. Tzeentch and Cathay are both going crazy with spells all over the board. But Cathay has infinite Winds of Magic, and Tzeentch just has pretty good Winds of Magic. His tier 1 ability that gives him more Winds of Magic doesn't work, so that is a big problem for him. Jade Warrior Crossmen are up here doing work. The problem I see here for Cathay and Ogres is the damage value is currently balanced. Like, it's very, very even. And they've just gotten into melee, which Slaanesh and Tzeentch should theoretically win in. And Cathay shouldn't as much. Also, Cathay has been spamming out spells like there's no tomorrow, and they're still not massively ahead on the balance of power. So, still. What? That Wall of Fire killed the pink. What do you mean it killed the pink? It did okay damage to a pink that was already missing its shields and had gotten hit with this Dragon Breath. Like, look at it! Look at that Wall of Wind and Fire going down! It's doing nothing! It's doing nothing! It's a terrible spell! You cannot convince me that's a good spell. It's doing nothing! What do you mean it's bad? I mean it's bad! Look at that, it's doing nothing! It's so slow. It is so slow, it's easy to dodge if you're not already in a blob fight, and it's not even doing any damage! It's terrible! What are you talking about, Fozen? You're trolling me! You're trolling me! Alright. My thoughts on the spells aside. In the middle, Tzeentch has claimed that. On the high ground, Slaanesh claimed 0.2. They might want to take their cavalry and get in a long flank. I understand some people really like defending a point, and I guess I'm not the best domination player ever to talk about it, but I really don't like fast cabs sitting on a point, especially when now all the crossmen are getting spawned in. The cab have to come down here and clean them out. The Slaughtermaster has been found in the trees, and Screamers are zoning out this Dragon-Blooded Shugi Lord of Yang. She has to be careful. We see a Troll Guts already getting cast on her, because as we talked about earlier, these Astromancers are just batteries. They don't even have a cursory spell on them. So if that Dragon-Blooded Shugi Lord dies, she's very expensive. She has a bunch of spells on her, like a bunch, so she's more expensive than she would normally be, and these two Mana batteries will be useless if she dies. So Anticipate needs to keep her alive, and it looks like he is. He's juking as best he can. You're drunk, human boy? Go home? Dude, I watched 2 different ones get cast. They don't look like they do any damage. What? Am I insane? I don't know. Somebody else weigh in. That thing looks like it does no frickin' damage. Alright, we have a Jade Shield cast onto something. Saber-Tusk? No, what are these little things? Oh, so Jade Warrior Crossman all got Jade Shield. Doesn't look like it's helping him too much as the Screamers and the Hellstriders run in, but summoning of Sabertusk and triple gold chevron Jade Warriors is going to immediately push them off. I mean, you are fighting the enemy spawns. That's gonna happen to you. Point 3 is uncontested from Cathay and the Ogres. It is just theirs forever. But this looks like it's going pretty bad for them. Damage values are very, 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 very similar. But it's just like, on the eye test, it looks like Tzeentch and Slaanesh are getting ahead. Now, it's pretty confusing. This is a pretty confusing eye test. This is a Rorschach test if I've ever seen one. But, yeah. Alright, here's another one. No, we're going to do this. So these Forsaken have full shields at the moment. I heard the Overcast, so this is Overcast.
One of your units has been destroyed.
It barely got through that. And even with a cannonball cast and a side cast from the Dragon Breath, it did that much damage. No, Wall of Wind and Fire sucks. End of story. It's terrible. It did nothing. It did nothing. There was a cannonball cast there and the Wall of Wind and Fire, and those Forsaken were barely hurt. Alright, double Astromancers are in a little bit of trouble as a whole bunch of Hellstriders and Seekers are going to come fight them. Actually, no, they're just going to stop. Okay, they probably want to go fight them. And, ooh, big pick. Narcissism is netting. Alright, that feels fair. Anyway, Narcissism was netting that lady in place, and she is going to land somehow, and then even gets a shield out, throws out the Dragon Breath as well. Ah, it feels good to have literally infinite winds of magic. Ah, feels good. It's armor versus 0 armor pierce? Yeah, I said the spell was bad. I didn't say the spell has no armor piercing. I think it's a bad spell, and having no armor pierce is part of it being bad. Good spells have armor piercing. The spells have no armor pierce. Yeah, I know, but that's what makes it bad. We're doing the thing again that I talked about, when it's like, yeah, this thing's bad. Well, why is it bad? Points it out. All right, 15 armor on this guy, no shields. There's no excuse this time. It did 1/3 of its HP. And then the Dragon Breath did more damage for less winds of magic faster. It can't be dodged. There's your freaking unit test. It's just better. The Dragon Breath is just better. Dragon's Breath is bad in your opinion? What? No! Dragon's Breath is incredible! What are you talking about? Am I getting gaslit right now? What is happening? Anyway, everybody is dead even on the damage balance of power, which is super nice. Point 1 is slowly getting taken by the red team. Point 3 is still secured by the red team. It looks like these Seekers are even having a bit of a tough time against the Astromancers. They're barely hanging on to their leadership as that single entity Kung Fu Boys goes all Kung Fu. Though they did rout off one of the Astromancers. You have both. What do you mean you have both? I'm confused. Like, yes, he has both. He used both back to back, and one was significantly better, cheaper, and faster. What are you talking about? What is happening? You said it's bad because there's an armor pierce. That's one of the reasons it's bad. It's expensive. It's slow. You can easily dodge it. It takes forever to cast. It takes forever to move. It has no armor pierce. That's what makes it a bad spell. And even with all that, it doesn't do that much damage. All those things combined make it a bad spell. That's the entire point. Dragon's Breath is incredible because it's cheap. It's extremely fast. It's impossible to dodge. It has extremely high base damage. It has a quick, like, tier-shaped attack, and it knocks range units down. It's incredible. Yes, it doesn't have armor pierce, but one negative versus all those positives means it's overall positive. All those negatives with no positives means that other one is a negative. What are you talking about? What is happening? I'm done. I'm done talking about it. I will leave it alone. Triple cap coming in for Even Star and Alwork Brawl. Damage values are still very similar, but Cathay is just having a really hard time hanging in there with the other factions. They don't have as much capture weight. Ooh, a blue lord just died. Who was it? It was Slaanesh. The Herald of Slaanesh is going to die. That could be significant. Slaanesh has a lot more mortal units than most of the Chaos factions do, so their leadership could actually matter, and they could start routing. Dragon Breath. Tried to hit some of these units, but doesn't really do a whole lot to Screamers or Chaos Spawns. It was really only there for the Furies. And this Dragon-Blooded Shugi Lord of Yang has been caught many times in scenarios like this, and she keeps taking damage. She's almost heal capped, so all the Trollguts that have been spent on her, she will eventually get kicked off, and I do think this is going to go into the favor of Tzeentch and Slaanesh very quickly, especially if that Shugi Lord is killed, because she is most of what Cathay is talking about for carry potential here. I didn't love all the spears. I know Anticity and I play Cathay very differently, mostly in land battles, but he really likes Terracotta Sentinels and spears rushes, and I really like using the range components. I don't think Terracotta Sentinels are very good. Now he didn't take him here, but I just know he played differently. And the Wall of Fire did so much damage to those 4 clustered up units. Just so much incredible damage. It was amazing and awesome. And I'm so happy that spell is getting cast. Anyway, Slaanesh can't take this point. There's just too many ogres, too many spears. So they gave up on it. They're pretty fine with their double cap. And at this point, they're actually in single cap territory. They only need 1 capture to win. Oh, good. Point 2 was taken from Slaanesh by Tzeentch. Thank God. I hate that visual bug so much, you have no idea. Rip Infinite Mana getting shattered off the map. Yeah. The damage values are insanely close. Across this whole game, they have been neck and neck, but it just doesn't matter faction-wise, because ogres... That's the biggest thing, is how I can articulate this. Ogres and Cathay actually route, so when they get low, it's different. When Slaanesh and Tzeentch get low, a good proportion of their units... Slaanesh has a decent amount of mortals, but a good proportion of their units will... Alright, these are Marauders of Slaanesh. They don't even have armor. A decent proportion of their units will rout, but a lot of them will crumble, or Spawn won't. Spawn also don't break. Oh, that's a great spell. It's getting outrun by the infantry. Incredible spell! Doing so much damage. Doesn't even get through the shields of that one. These guys just outrun it. Ah, incredible spell! Net. Damn it, I wanted to save that as the net, because I wanted to make a video about when the Lord was netted and then she just landed. I thought that was pretty funny. Netted. Whew. Anyway. Slaanesh, do we have any interesting values to really talk about? A lot of their cav got near 1,000. That's pretty good. Anticity's Lore of Yang got 4,700 value, but I think these Celestial Dragon Guard just didn't pan out. None of them got even close to paying for themselves, which I know in Domination mode isn't the biggest thing, but it is still, like, that was a very expensive unit. Alright, Bob wants me to play Vermintide. I'm streaming. No. For Zone, he healed the shit out of Anticity's Lord. Other than that, he did okay. Yeah. They just didn't have the mobile presence to fight Evenstar and Ulrich. Wow, Ulrich brought a lot of Screamers. I did keep seeing Screamers, but I guess I didn't realize how many were out at once. He brought an Exalted Pink Horror? Ulrich, you fucking Chad. Alright. Alright, blocker up. Let's go. I need to change that replay name before it becomes the autosave and gets deleted, but I do need to change it to Shugi Net Avoided. Okay. There. I will get that. Oh, there's a bunch of videos to make. Thankfully, how I make videos, I just make a shit ton in a row and schedule them out. So I have like 1 day a week where I sit down and make 10 videos. Which isn't perfect, because sometimes people will comment that I sound tired, or like, you need to take a break, or like, this wasn't very inspired. And yeah, it's my fault. I'll try to avoid that. But the main point is, I haven't needed to make content for a while because I had content scheduled out till May 27th, and I haven't recorded a video in 2 weeks, so it's okay. I've been putting most of my energy into streams or streams of other games entirely. They don't really make good just one-off videos, so it's good to get some more content. Just shouting about fucking Wall of Fire. That's the content. Now that's a lot of damage. Llama's sending me memes. Trolling on me. Alright. I gotta catch up with the things. So. You guys were talking about campaign a lot. What was that about? I remember Grumpy Guard. I didn't respond to him. Game is slowly dying it is, i.e. implemented it. Be a saving factor, but knowing the CA is so mysterious, yeah, not much faith in it. Grumpy Guard, that's fair. Like, CA has had a lot of trips and falls. The tricky part we're at, and I've talked about the concept of this stuff a lot, so let's keep it really short, but the only new thought I have on it is I would characterize CA through all of Warhammer 2 as clumsy but good intentioned, is what I would honestly call them. And you can disagree, that's fine. But I think the release of Warhammer 3 was kind of malicious, where there was a lot very clearly wrong with it, and they pretended it didn't exist rather than acknowledging it existed and like saying they're giving it their best. Like the Beastmen DLC that came out at the very end. They fucked up, but then they immediately came out and said, we know we fucked up and we're working on it. We're sorry. They worked on it and it was fine. Game 3, it felt like they came out and said, no, everybody's wrong. This game is great. And then all the streamers said that kind of stuff too. And then the game came out and it wasn't great. So there's kind of a tonal shift there that I'm a little worried about. And taking the chat out of Warhammer 2, but like hiding it was also kind of sneaky. They don't normally do this sneaky kind of stuff. That's more of like an EA or Activision Blizzard kind of thing. So them doing it now is pretty worrying. I hope that now that they've sold you the game they wanted to sell you, and they got your money, I hope they kind of go back to being clumsy but good intentioned, and I'm hoping it was all just a little bit greedy. But if they continue with this stuff, then yeah, the game might be fucked. So we'll see. Focusing on the wrong thing on one of your favorite factions. I played Archie's campaign last month. It was horrid. Yeah, Chaos campaign's terrible, Cyrus. All right, then Fozen and I argue, so I can skip a lot of those messages because I already read them. Queden, you love the Archie campaign. You might be the only person on the planet who does. Coops is talking about barriers, play on legendary. Most campaign on legendary just isn't fun. I agree, Coops. I tend to play campaign on either very hard, or legendary campaign normal battles, so that I can use cav unit and they don't suck. Chaos campaign isn't fun. Jeremy egging on Fozen. It's always great to watch these top tier players because there's always a great chance to learn new things, and it's hilarious watching this Wall of Fire debate. Yeah. Yeah, that was a good game. It's just like hard to describe what was happening because it was all very spread out, but it was just a slow push from Tzeentch and Slanesh taking over the front line, and then their cavalry could hard pressure the backside, and Ogres brought the front line to the party because Cathay really couldn't. You could see Cathay kept getting bottled up in their spawn by Cav, and even though they would beat the Cav, they wouldn't be able to walk forward to the points. It was a big problem. And then the Ogres were left alone. And they were relying heavily on that Yang Lord to get a lot of stuff done. And she was, but she wouldn't do enough stuff. Jonathan Anderson, do you even know how charge bonus works? I don't. I just don't. All right. Daniel thought ODM had this. Wall of Fire was OP in Diablo. That's true. What causes the infinite wind of magic bug? I'm going to ban it next 30. It's the Jade Amulet plus Arcane Conduit. You just get too much Winds of Magic recharge. So then it overcomes the fact that you have 0 Winds of Magic in the tank. You go into the negatives. But then like kind of... This isn't exactly how it works, but gets the point across. Where you're at 0, but you get so much Winds of Magic recharge. you can overcome 0 and go to -1, -2, -3, -4. But then it doesn't stay at -4, so it's not harder next time. It rubber bands back to 0. So if you ever get above that threshold again, which you do with the Jade Amulet every time you cast a spell, it's going to go -1, -2, -3, -4, back to 0. Oh, you cast again? -1, -2, -3, -4. So you're getting this Winds of Magic out of a negative pool that shouldn't be there. Whereas in Warhammer 2, how it generally functioned is if you pop Arcane Conduit, and again, someone's going to have the exact stats and refute this, but this generally gets the point across. Generally. Is if you pop Arcane Conduit, your Winds of Magic reserve goes from 0 up to like 30, let's say. And then you use part of that 30. You have 15 left. Next time you pop Arcane Conduit, your reserve goes back to 30, but you used 15 of it, so you only have 15 left, and you get like 10 of it. And you get 5. And at some point, when you start using Arcane Conduit on like Zarthoriel, you just don't have any Winds of Magic left to get, no matter how much you increase the pool. But the Jade Amulet doesn't seem to work that way. It just seems to keep taking this infinity and rubber banding it back to 0 every time, so it can keep taking from a pool that doesn't exist. Yeah. Also, I banned something that's not OP. That specific thing is pretty OP. Cathay is not OP, but that specific thing about them is fucking ridiculous. Anticity was casting he was casting like every spell he had in his repertoire on cooldown. That's kind of insane. Someone just came in to check on you while you're laughing so much. Those streamers have a lot to answer for, to be honest. Yeah. It was weird. It was like a Twilight Zone thing, because like everybody was talking about how great it was, and then the game launched and they just went really quiet, and it was weird. Hate that they took chat out. I do too, buddy. I do too. Real human being? Well, what? What, punk? I will fight you. Put him up. Put him up. Why not cast Warhammer 2 games? Other content creators seem to be doing that. Because my replay casts don't get a lot of views anyway. I don't love casting replays as a concept. I only cast like really good ones or things people want me to do, but mostly I have enough bug footage. Like basically I'll cover replays if I run out of other things to do and you people deserve content. But so far I've had meme videos or bug videos, filling up a lot of stuff. We don't really need a lot of replays. And when I do have replays, like they're still building armies, and they will be for 35 minutes, so let's just take a look. Let's go into the secret backlog of Hummus Boy's YouTube. Okay. So, Zinch Bug Video 148. Drones Assemble has been out for 24 hours longer than that one, and it's already gotten passed. So my replay cast isn't very good. And you might be like, yeah, it's just game 3. True. But it was the same in game 2 as well. My replays didn't get as much views as my bugs and memes did. Warhammer Lost Chat, Warhammer 2 Bullshittery, 2,300. So, like, I think people just come to this channel for the memes. I don't think they really come here for my one-off replay content. That's just what I've seen. Yeah, pretty good stuff. Melt the Ice Chariot Blob, 400 views, and the two around it are about 2,000. Well, 1,300 and 2,000. So, I don't know. People just haven't seemed to care about my replay content, which is fine, because it's not my favorite content to make, is what I would say, to answer your question. I don't know. I prefer memes. I prefer bugs. I prefer silly nonsense. I don't know. Like, also, like, Rubber Duck does replays, Logic does replays, Turin does replays, Vizaresh does replays, Tactical Lich does replays. It's not like, I don't know. I'd be a little more gung-ho about doing replays if they weren't literally everywhere else. It's like, people know where to get that content. They don't need me for it. I just like getting a few cheap ha-has here and there. We're about 9 minutes into army building. You can warn them? Sure. Sure. I suppose I'll keep this moving. Alright, at int, at zone, at Alchric at Evenstar. About 1 more minute on armies, please. Cathay Nurgle versus Kislev Slaanesh. Again, I think Anticity and Zone are fighting uphill. While we did just see Slaanesh into Cathay, and that is good on Domination mode for Slaanesh. I mean, Cathay is pretty bad on Domination mode. Slaanesh does not love fighting Nurgle in any capacity whatsoever. It's a very bad time for Slaanesh. Kislev also doesn't have an amazing time in Nurgle. It's okay, but it's not incredible. And Kislev isn't Tzeentch. So they won't have the pure overrun power, and I think Nurgle's also a little better at holding. Agree with that. I like the funny as well as the streams. Never liked individual replays. Yeah. I don't think individual replays are bad. I just think there's other people who do them better than me, and there's so many people who do them that there's no real niche in that content for me. Like, there's plenty of them. And then there's people who do it worse than me, but I'll just let them have it, like Turin. All of my replays are better than Turin's. It's a fact. You can look it up in the dictionary store. It's in the dictionary under replays, example 1. Human Boy does them better than Turin. Out of the 24 people watching, 23 are going to go, ha, that was a self-deprecating joke. And there's one person that's going to go tell Turin and be like, do you know what Human Boy said about you? Or they're going to become a keyboard warrior in my comments and be like, actually, Turin's incredible, and how dare you? How dare you? It says so on your wiki page. Dude, I wish I had a wiki page. I wish. Anticity's readied up. Zone's readied up. Evenstar or Alwick are thinking. Evenstar's been sitting in the exact same build for about 3 minutes, though, so I'm guessing he's about ready. And I haven't been hovering over Alric, so I don't know. Alric's just playing with chevrons at the moment. Oh, shit. He deleted 4 units. Alright, so he's still working on it. I think this is going to be a game. This is going to be a game. Hold on. The fact that I have to check the rules is telling you this is a game. Okay. Yep, no, both the armies I'm looking at are within the rules. Oh boy. Okay, Alric changed his build around quite a lot, but he kept the one part that I liked. Well, like is a strong word. The one part I thought was going to be interesting to talk about. Okay. He's back to having no money. Please just spend the chevrons and let's get going. Stop. He's doing chevron juggling. Just put it on the cheap unit. He really wants to upgrade expensive units. And he's having a hard time with that. All right, they're readying it up. I just want to talk about it and I can't, so I need to just shut my mouth. Come on, ready up. Everybody's readying up. I'm gonna take down the blocker. Actually, I can just delete the blocker. So Anticity and Zone are going for the opposite of the hero of the people build. They are going for the we are the bad guys and we know it build. Alright? If you aren't rooting for Alric Rawl and Evenstar, you might want to start. because you shouldn't want the other build to win. It's the most degenerate shit I've ever seen. Okay. So we're loading in. Inticity brought, for his first army, entirely single entities. And his secondary army, it's single entities or cavalry. And I don't think he has any infantry at all. And for zone, I know he has... I think he has double cultist. I know he has a lord, obviously. And then I saw he has a soul grinder. So on one team, we have 3 snow leopards, a bear. We have 2 patriarchs and a lord. So Inticity brought 7 single entities. And then zone brought a soul grinder, a lord. I saw a hero. I can't remember if it was double. So I think we have 11 single entities on the red team. Yeah, it's double cultist. It is as many single entities as they could shove into this build. Triple snow leopard, double patriarch. We have an ice witch of probably punishing anybody for bringing units that aren't single entities. We have a herald of Slaanesh with slicing shards to further punish any unit that isn't a single entity. We have a soul grinder. We have double cultist for the summons. I think I mentioned the giant bear, and we technically have some marauders and demonettes that also exist. Please, if you care about gaming, if you care about anything at all, wish for that to lose. Fozen saying the SEM blob probably going to lose since it's Dom. I hope so. I hope that is true. It's also... honestly, though, it's a weird choice versus Cathay. Like, Cathay can shoot single entities pretty okay. I don't know. So they can't just sit and blob. They're going to have to be more active. On the Cathay side, we have a real build. Dragon-blooded Shugi Lord of Yang with... Even Star. No, wait. Ulrich Rahl. Still a very good player. Didn't bring Wall of Wind and Fire, but he brought the other 3. I still don't really like Constellation of Dragon either. Just stick with the Dragon's Breath and Jade Shield. Arcing Conduit. Oh, no. He fucked up. The Shugi Lord doesn't have the Jade Amulet. Alright, so that's a big, big problem. The Yang Lord does not have the amulet, which is the key to the infinite winds of magic build, and I don't think he knows that. He has an alchemist. Oh no, Ulrich Rahl made huge mistakes with that build. No Jade Amulet is crucial, but also he brought Astromancer and an alchemist, but with no spells and no staff. He doesn't have the staff, so this guy isn't helping with Winds of Magic recharge at all. They're just here for Harmony of the Winds. That is a huge mistake. These are just wasted gold. Oh no. Okay, that's fucking tragic. Regardless, the good spell that gets cast, half healths and exalted demonettes of Slaanesh. Wall of Wind and Fire couldn't do that shit. They would just walk through it, but whatever. I'm not mad. Aside from that, we do have some Plague Bearers of Nurgle trying to walk up and defend. We have Jade Warriors, Crossmen. We have double Grand Cannons all firing away. Double Cultists of Nurgle, an Exalted Great and Clean One of Nurgle. We have a Beast of Nurgle. And we are getting some Plague Toads summoned in. We have some Jade Lancers getting summoned in. More Plague Bearers. But I really think the suboptimal Cathay Hero Core is going to be a problem. I might just ban Ent out of pure smite. That's fair. Alright. The single entity blob of Inticity has arrived, except for the Elemental Bear is not quite there yet. One of the cultists of Slaanesh is having a bad time, but don't worry, there is plenty of healing with Celiax Lullaby coming in, and there's 2 Patriarchs because this isn't land battles. Because this isn't land battles, ladies and gentlemen, land battles, this wouldn't happen, but Domination mode, which is perfect according to some people, allows this kind of shit. Just saying, just throwing it out there that land battles for once, land battles gets a little edge up. Slicing Shards plus a Heart of Winter is going to make everyone regret being alive. And they sufficiently regret it. They are now retreating. Inticity and Zone are very far ahead on the damage, balance, and power. And the Exalted Great and Unclean One of Nurgle is going to wander into a bad fight, as we saw with Scarbrand twice in a row, as we saw with anybody that's tried to fight the single entity blob. They are going to kick his ass, and he is slowly trying to waddle out of there. He is T-posing. He is getting real stuck. Grand Cannon's turning and trying to fire, but of course they're obstructed. They can't do jack shit about it. And the single entity blob team is actually going to take the center point. Doesn't look like they even give a crap about point 3. It looks like what they're going for is trying to win the fight so hard that they'll trap you in your spawn with no funds and no units, and then they'll take the rest of the map as they please, would be my guess about how this is going to go. The Exalted Great Unclean One is going to turn around and slap the Elemental Bear in the face, and he's very good at that. In land battles, I take him versus Kislev all the time. He has a great time, even versus the Elemental Bear. But I think it's the other single entities that are going to be a problem for him. Acquiescence is going to lower his melee defense and his speed. As a Snow Leopard and a Patriarch try to fight him, they do, like, I hate to say this out loud, but they do need to be blobbier with their single entities. They're really kind of fighting multiple different targets instead of all focusing on the same guy, and that will allow the Exalted Great Unclean One to leave. Elemental Bear is trying to chase him, but it really doesn't do that much damage. It's highly overrated as a duelist single entity, so we'll have to see there. Okay, Anticity did bring some archers. We have Kossars with spears getting spawned now. We also have some Demonettes of Slaanesh that are going to run around. And Cathay and Nurgle are getting screwed up here. They're having a real hard time even getting out of their own spawn. It looks like Nurgle is overcasting a heal on this area, which might feel a little wasted because it didn't hit him. He wasn't in it, so it's just healing up some infantry and I guess the Cultist. Okay, the Cultist is a good call out. Nice play here from Evenstar trying to summon the Exalted Plague Bearers of Nurgle. Their grenades can do a ton of damage to these single entities since neither Slaanesh or Kislev have great single entities armor-wise. But it does look like there are some heroic individual units in the middle of the Plague Bearers that are disrupting them and stopping them from shooting, as some Fiends of Slaanesh are trying to get over there and stop them as well. The Exalted Big Boy of Nurgle is getting dumpstered, as we discussed earlier. Now that all the single entities decided he was the target, as I had hoped they would, they're going to destroy him. And without the Exalted Greater Unclean One, they're going to have real problems. I haven't noticed... I mean, the Shugi Lord doesn't have any good stuff to deal with single entities at all. All of her attacks are AoE. But even still, you can see she's not nearly casting as many spells as Anticities was because we're missing 3 different mana regeneration items. Double Astromancer, both of the staff, isn't here, and the Jade Amulet isn't here. So Ulrich Rawl's just flat out of mana, I bet. I bet. Red team has taken point 2. Blue team and green team, quote unquote, have taken points 1 and 3, but it looks like point 3 will be short-lived, and they'll be pulling back. And this is exactly what I was thinking might happen when they blitz this hard. They're just trying to shut down the enemy, just trying to keep them in their spawn, and then they can take the rest of the map as they please. A big Heart of Winter is getting cast on all of these blue units over here. It's not overcast, at least, thankfully, but it is still going to be a very bad time to be a blue unit in this sphere. The single entity blob moves on. Both Nurgle Cultists are almost heal capped. Both Nurgle Cultists are running away. Quick Dragon's Breath from the Dragon-Blooded Shugenate Lord is going to nuke down the Demonettes of Slaanesh to get rid of him. Wolfblade, I run into single entity spam, especially from Kislev. Single entities and chariots is literally all I fight when I try to play Domination quick battles, which is why I've moved to only playing Domination with people I know in real life, so that if they do this shit to me, I can just never play with them again. And that is an honest truth. That is not a joke. I tried playing the ladder. It was so miserable with Kislev single entity blobs that I just fucking stopped playing. And I only play with people I know. Anyway, Cathay is locked up in their spawn. The damage values are very similar, but you can see, again, we're talking about a mortal faction versus Kislev is just unbreakable, but also a different demon faction, and Cathay is just getting routed off. Like, look at that health. That amount of health on a demon unit would never rout. They would never rout. They would never go anywhere. They wouldn't even be crumbling at this point, but human leadership is a hell of a drug. And it's looking pretty doomed. It's looking pretty doomed. Where's the Shugi Lord? She's safe. If she's dead, this is an extra disaster, because neither of these casters have anything. Nope, Shugi Lord's over there. She's fine. Dom ladder is more miserable than land battle ladder. I avoided land battle ladder because I also thought it was miserable, so I hate both things. Sounds like we need to play some Dom. Not if you're picking Kislev. That or I'll never play with you again. Because it was just miserable. I was playing Cathay because I like Cathay, and it's just like, I have 8 single entities and 5 chariots. Actually, it's 6 chariots. And 6 chariots. You having fun yet? And I'm like, nope. And I always quit the game like 4 minutes in. The points had barely unlocked, and I always just left because it was like, if I lose, obviously it wasn't fun. And even if I win against something like that, which I doubted I would, it was not fun. Evenstar and Ulrich are sufficiently locked up in their base. Again, point 1 is barely being contested, but ooh, Plague Bearers now have to fight Demonettes. Plague Bearers might actually do okay there because Demonettes are wasting a lot of their stats on armor piercing, which doesn't affect the Plague Bearers. But with a Griffin Legion coming over and more Demonettes, they will for sure secure point 1. Point 2 is still locked down. There are some flying units, but flying units obviously can't do anything about that. And point 3 might get taken by some Peasant Horsemen, but it looks a little unlikely. The Blob continues to terrorize the spawn zone of Nurgle and Cathay. Delmos Bear's hanging in there. Note to self, only spam SE and Chariots consumable and Dom. That's pretty funny. Make sure to bring Wall of Fire. Kislev's bad. There's only a few times where they're good, and it's with this shit. I don't know. People talking mad trash about land battles, and then the single entity blob rolls into Domination, and all of a sudden all the haters are really quiet. How bad is land battles now? Huh? Still pretty bad, but Domination mode also has problems, which was the point of that video that I made a while ago. Alright, Elemental Bear, nearly heal capped, sitting next to Patriarch who is heal capped. Fiends of Slanesh are over here also fighting. Red team is almost, they are triple capped at the moment, so they'll keep getting a lead. And they are now pulling further ahead on the damage value, which for the longest time is even, so this is getting even worse for Evenstar and Olacrawl, and I do not think they can come back. Queden, you'll definitely revise the rules after this. That's fair, and you do that to make tournaments fun. But the larger conversation I was having is that people were like, Domination mode's perfect, it doesn't need rules, and I hate that conversation because I think it does need rules to be fun. And this is one of the big aspects of like, sure would be nice if we had a single entity limit, and then certain people are like, no, but then, you know, yada yada, and oh, but it's not supposed to have rules. Well, land battles can also not have rules, but we put them there for land battles to be more fun, and I think Domination could have rules to make it more fun. Like, Domination can be a fun game mode. I don't think at its core it's so flawed it can't be fun. Like, I enjoy it. I just think it would be more fun with some rules. And there's been a lot of conversation around the community, but there's certain people that are like, Domination mode is literally perfect and land battles suck. And those are the people that really bother me. It's not that, like, if you think Domination mode's better than land battles, you're allowed to think that. I hate when there are people that won't acknowledge that Domination can have issues. That's my point. Alright. I need to save that autosave. And the single entity blob won. At least you can make turn into phones. Yeah, Queden. Yeah. And your other 2v2 tournaments usually had special single entity limits so that people couldn't blob them up and do this kind of stuff. Because especially in like Warhammer 2, like if you paired Beastmen with a faction that could heal, the single entity blobs would get insane, except I think your 2v2 rules are like, for land battles, are like 6 single entities between both people. And a max of 4 per person on a team, and that really limits how much you can blob. Because look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. A whole bunch of cav, which isn't a problem. 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, 11 single entities. I think if Ulrich really wanted to bring this Alchemist, he could have brought Final Trans. Final Trans isn't that great in Game 3, but it's still a spell that exists. Fozen... Wait. Fozen, land battle still bad. Laughing. Land battles are so horrible I never played one. Anticity isn't just the hero we want, also the hero we need. Ulrich has a ton of resources for summons. I don't think SEM rule is needed. Land battles are bad and you don't think an SEM rule is needed? Fozen, you have some hot takes today. You have some hot takes. Alright. Land battles are bad. Wall of Wind and Fire is perfect and great. And there's no SEM needed to make this fun. Not competitive. Fun. Fun is a word. It is a 3-letter word. It goes F-U-N. Fun. People like to have fun when they're playing a video game. And you know what is not fun is a single entity blob. Single entity blob is not fun, Mr. Sir. It is terrible. Whether or not it is the most balanced thing in the world, it is not fun. It is when the ace finished. Domination shouldn't be in the game. I think Tomb Kings is going to enjoy fun. If land battles, SEM rules needed. In Dom, it's not. At killing stuff matters in land battles. At least killing stuff matters. You're going to change more land power unit prices for Doms. Rules are for fools. McRightface, it's maybe true. These aren't even hot takes for Dom. Like, I don't know, Fozen, you and Rinless can host a tournament then. And I've talked to Rinless a decent amount. That's fine. People can have differing opinions, but like, you guys can host a tournament where this is allowed and that kind of stuff. But from my angle, it looks pretty horrible. It looks pretty fucking miserable. Because it's like you load up, and this is like in favor of Domination. One of the things people say they like about Domination is it's not build roulette by land battles. And I will agree with them about that. There are land battle games where you load up and you're like, they countered my build, rock, paper, scissors. I can't do anything about it. It's over. All right, cool. Domination mode, normally if you spam your reinforcements in a certain direction or bring certain units, it's fine. But with single entity blobs like this, it is just build roulette. Did you bring the things that could kill it, or didn't you? And in this, you didn't. You didn't have final trans, even though it's nerfed. It's still okay against single entity blobs like this. They didn't bring Iron Hail Gunners. You know, they had some crossmen, but crossmen get obstructed immediately. Like, they just weren't ready for it. And that might be like, you can say in this atmosphere, while that was a mistake, they played incorrectly. And I pointed out several things about Alric Rawl's build I didn't love. But that doesn't mean that this is a fun and interactive way to play the game. And if tournament hosts don't want it in their tournaments because they want people to have as much fun as possible, then that's their right to ban it. And you can host tournaments that are boring and stupid with single entity blobs. But this shit is miserable. Like, what are they supposed to do? What are they supposed to do with this state in the game? Like, their builds are their builds. They're stuck with it and they just can't play. And it's like, very cool, very fun. So, yeah, I would disagree strongly. If like, and you're fine, you can run only single entity tournaments if you want to. But you can't stop Queden from having rules in his tournaments that he just wants to have. He wants to have fun, good content in. So, no, I don't think you can tell him how to run his tournaments. I think you're wrong. I know even Houseplant would agree with these takes. Houseplant's always had weird tanks, but alright, Fozen. Alright, dude. It was like our battle with triple SEM hacking their way through armies. What do you mean? Wait, Fozen, you've been gaslighting me all game. I'll get back to this. All right? I'm not going to get mad. I'm going to check my Discord things to see if anybody was messaging me. All right. So. All right. Queden announced the thing. I will also announce the thing. Llama sending me memes. All right. So, Inticity and Zone, congratulations on winning. Good job, ODM lads. You did great. You did great. You all did awesome. And you did your thing. It was fine. It was all fine. I don't have it exactly. But, yes. So to Zone and Inticity, congratulations on winning. It's always good to see you guys win. They're both very nice people. They're very lovely people. Good job, Even Star and Alric Rawl, for your own thing. That's great. You got in second. You did great. So back to Fozen. Stop gaslighting me. It's not. No, you get 1 game out of 12. This is a worthless rule change. What are you talking about? World Beater and Wolfblade. Yeah, World Beater and Wolfblade fought Fozen and Zone. That's where the meme came from that I said they took their build from earlier and did it even more. They fought 4 cultists, Beasts of Nurgle, a Herald of Nurgle, a Herald of Khorne. Like, they fought the single entity blob, and then Scarbrand got caught in the single entity blob for just a moment, and he got fucking gatted down. Then on the Silver Spire, we had the same single entity blob, and Scarbrand kept charging in and out of it, and whenever he got stuck in it, he got gatted down. What do you mean 1 out of 12 games? Every game Inticity and Zone played, they had a massive single entity blob, except for the one Cathay game. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Are we living in a different existence, or what are you... No, Fozen. No. You're coming with me. You gaslighting monster. All right. Single entity blob. Game 1. There's 1 game of a single entity blob right there. Even Star versus Ulrich roll. All right, it's the single entity blob game. That's weird that there's a single entity blob here. Look at them all. 2 Beasts of Nurgle. There's 4 cultists in here. There's a Herald of Khorne, and there's a Herald of Nurgle. Scarbrand's over there trying to fight some other stuff, and he comes over here. He's going to get trapped. He's going to get trapped. That's weird. That's a second game. That's the second game. That's odd. That's so strange. That's so strange and strange, Fozen, you gaslighting person. Oh, look! I backed up another single entity blob. Another single entity blob, Mr. Fozen, sir. Isn't that weird? Isn't that strange how 1 out of 12 games had a single entity blob and I found 3 in like 5 fucking seconds, sir? That's very strange. That is very strange. It's almost like I've been doing this for 3 hours and I might know what I'm talking about. So, we found 3 games. On this stream, we had 1 game, 2 games, 3 games, and then we had a finals. So 6 games on the stream. 6 games on the stream, Fozen. I had 3 single entity blobs. Half the games on my stream were single entity blobs. No, you can't come in here and say, we had 1 out of 12. We had 3 out of 6. Both your numbers are incorrect. And as for the other 12 games, I mean, not the other 12, the other 6 that I didn't watch them, so I don't know if there were single entity blobs. But on this stream, the 6 games we had, 3 of them were single entity blobs. I have proved it to you. Quit gaslighting me. Nuh-uh, not today. Not today, sir. Also, you're on the left screen, right, so you can even see what I'm talking about. Yes, you are incorrect. Now, again, you can have single entities if you want, that is fine, but you will not come in here and spit fake facts about how many single entity blob games we had, alright? I'm just pointing out the facts, not my opinions. The opinions is whether or not you want to play with the single entities. The facts are we had 3 out of 6. Also, define SEM blob when there's so many fucking SEMs on the screen you can't even see the units. Are we saying 6 plus SEMs? Yeah, that's a fucking blob, dude. That's a fucking blob. Look at this mess. Look at this shit. It's just a bunch of single entities. What? Hold on. Where was the part where Scarbrand was literally like surrounded by like 50 guys? I mean, look at that! Look at all those little banners and there's barely any units in there. Scarbrand died earlier in this game because he was surrounded by single entities. Is it a blob with SEM? Maybe. Like, Scarbrand died in there. Are you saying that's not an SEM blob? We have a Beast of Nurgle, 3 cultists, 4 cultists, a Herald. There's another cultist from the other team over there. There's... Oh yeah, and that game had 2 Stonehorns in it. So that game had like 11 SEs. So it's not even the last one. The last game of the day had tied for the most amount of SEs as that other game. So you can't like... Fucking gaslighting me, dude. Get out of here. Get out of here with your Italian sausage and your meat boxes. Kids these days with their cell phones and their jetpacks and their cocaine, cigarettes. That's a normal blob battle. So wait, now you're admitting that there are blobs. What are you talking about? I'm done with this. I'm done with this conversation. I won. I'm the victor. Give me my gold medal. I destroyed this conversation. I am a master of argument. I will now put this over my head. Oh, gold medal. It feels nice. Oh, $10 million? Thank you, Mrs. Obama. It was lovely to meet you. What's that? Mussolini? Back from the dead? You're a controversial figure. You should get out of here. I should not have you on stream. Oh, what's that? You have another gold medal for me? All right, I'll take the gold medal. You all right, Mussolini? Well, maybe not that. Oh, he's gone. The sound clip is out there. All right. Oh, what's that? Another gold medal from the Nobel Peace Prize? I got the Nobel Peace... I don't know if it's the Peace... What's that? One for journalism. Journalism? I didn't know they had a Nobel Prize for Hold on. Oh, so many gold medals around my neck, I can't even breathe. All right, I'm leaving. I'm leaving. I hope everybody has a good one. All right. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye again. Congratulations to the ODM Goon Squad for a good game. And Even Star and Ulrich Rahl really kept it... they kept it pretty even. Like, even that last game that they didn't get to capture a lot of points, they kept the damage values very similar while locked in their spawn. So Even Star and Ulrich, they played a hell of a game out there. Yeah, just good shit. Good shit all around. I'll see you guys later.